Estamos en vivo en el Gran Premio de Miami 1985 y a punto de arrancar la carrera estelar. Gran Turismo prototipo, el tercer Gran Premio de Miami, con algunos de los pilotos y de las máquinas más veloces de este planeta. Eso es lo que estaremos viendo dentro de unos momentos. La carrera estelar de este fin de semana de fiesta en la capital del sol. Y aquí están las posiciones de salida. En la primera fila, John Paul Jr. estará junto con Adam y su March 85G y él ganó la primera posición de salida. Después, Wollek y AJ Foyt están en el segundo puesto. En la segunda fila, Holbert y Bell con Fittipaldi y Garcia en el espíritu de Miami.
Then you move on back to the third row, where you find first off the number 44 Jaguar, Tullius and Redman sharing the chores there. The points champion in IMSA last year, Randy Lanier in car number 1. And on the fourth row, it'll be 04, Haywood and Robinson, again in another Jaguar. Then number 29, Hobbs and Brassfield in a Chevrolet-powered March.
Después está el otro representativo de Ralph Sánchez Racing, con Lammers y Roberto Guerrero. En el 57 también en la quinta fila, Billy Dale Whittington. En la sexta fila, Kalagian y Loyd y Courtney y O'Neill.
Picking it up once again now to the seventh row, where you find number 30, Moretti and Zagala sharing in a Ford. Then number 67, Busby and Noop with an in-car camera that we may be able to give you some great shots of, a Porsche. Then to the eighth row, where it's Dave Cowart and Kemper Miller in the Red Lobster car. Then number 39, a possible starter, possibly not, Jack Gunn and Belcher. They wadded the car up badly yesterday in the last qualifying session.
Esas son las principales posiciones de salida y claro, el resto de los competidores pues también tendrán mucho que hacer. Pueden ver a los automóviles haciendo heces para hacer el calentamiento de las llantas y evitar los patinones al principio de la carrera. Importantísimo calentar las llantas en esta que es la carrera más cara en todo el calendario anual de IMSA. Platicaba Bruce Flanders que resulta curioso que por esta carrera el ganador se lleva $50,000 y dura 3 horas. Por manejar 24 horas en Daytona, el premio es menos.
And that's the voice of Jorge Berry that you were just listening to as we bring you the bilingual broadcast live of the Miami Grand Prix, the third annual one. They're tire warming right now. It's kind of an interesting dance that goes along with this sport, and there's not a lot of room on this racetrack. We're coming around soon to look at the green flag live of a 3-hour, the richest GP race on the circuit anywhere in the United States.
Vamos a ver si sale aquí la bandera verde y entonces tendremos ya el arranque y la carrera oficial en el Gran Premio de Miami. ¡Allá van!
All right, green flag is out and we're underway in a 3-hour go. Bundle down into the corner. Who gets there first? Your shot's as good as ours. It looks like John Paul Jr. has put the squeeze on Bob Wollek, and young John Paul has the lead.
John Paul Jr. en un movimiento tremendo, se clava por la parte de dentro y consigue el primer lugar, encerrando a Bob Wollek, que batalló mucho para salir pegadito a John Paul Jr. de la curva, pero en fin salió pegado y salió con bien, así que no hubo problemas allá en la primera curva, por lo menos con los líderes, y ya estamos en plena competencia. El Gran Premio de Miami 85 arrancó.
And Bob Wollek has taken it right back from him on the only long straightaway, which really isn't one, so we've changed the lead already one time, and it is now the AJ Foyt Bob Wollek car. Wollek, the Frenchman, at the wheel for the first stage.
Ya lo vieron a Bob Wollek rápidamente en la recta trasera, rebasa a John Paul Jones y así de pronto, en menos de la mitad de la pista ya hay un cambio de líder. Bob Wollek está encabezando la prueba, John Paul Jr. está en segundo lugar.
All right, there's a shot of him as we come back out onto the main part of the course. It's a Porsche, then a Buick March, and then another Porsche. Those are the top 3. Then it looks like one of the Chevrolet Marches. That is number 1. Should be Randy Lanier in the 4th place spot. The top 4, all quality drivers who did quite well in IMSA racing last year. And right now, trying to get it around smoothly and keep it off of the walls. That has been a problem, hasn't it, the walls?
Oh, very much here. And I think on the first lap, they'll take it really quite easily in case somebody's dropped some oil. When I say easily, of course, that's only a relative word. But because all of them are jockeying for place, trying to pick up here or there. But they can't afford to, this early, perhaps nudge another car, upset a wing or something like that. So they're obviously very experienced drivers out at the start. They know very well that the pressure's got to be on them. Enormous pressure of heat and of getting fatigue and so on. So they'll take it reasonably easily.
El que se ha movido mejor es Randy Lanier, porque él arrancó en la sexta posición y ya tomó el tercer lugar detrás de Bob Wollek y John Paul Jr., rebasando a Al Holbert y a Emerson Fittipaldi, que son los que le siguen en la clasificación. Así que Randy Lanier con su Chevy March es el que está ganando más más lugares hasta el momento.
It's a 3.2-liter Porsche engine with a turbocharger out in front of it right now. Then the V6, also with a turbocharger, running in the second place spot. Boy, that is a compact motor too, isn't it?
It's amazing how small and how much power they get out of these little engines. But you know, one of the big problems here, Bruce, I was speaking to the guys before, is fuel consumption. It depends how many yellows there are as to how many fuel stops they have to make. They're hoping, the faster ones are hoping to get away with one stop. But if there aren't quite a few yellows, they won't do it. They're going to use up too much fuel and they're going to have a second one. Also, will the tires last without a tire change? This is another thing we're not sure about.
Y tendrá que haber muchas banderas amarillas para que favorezcan a los carros turbocargados, como son los que van encabezando la prueba. Los dos primeros son de turbocargador. Holbert está ahora ya en tercer lugar y Randy Lanier ocupa el cuarto, sigue encabezando la prueba Bob Wollek y John Paul Jr. está en el segundo puesto. Emerson Fittipaldi también allá batallando en quinto y tratando de ganar lugares.
The Goodyear tire engineers that I spoke with just before the race started told me that the asphalt on the racing surface, where the sun is shining the brightest, the asphalt is running between 125 and 130 degrees Fahrenheit temperature. It's the warmest the asphalt has been all weekend because the practice sessions were run under a cloudy sky. Now they think that the tires may have to be changed because Goodyear has produced the softest racing tire ever for this particular race.
Y claro, pues 32 de los competidores están usando llantas Goodyear, que son casi el 90% de los autos. Ya tenemos la primera visita a los pits, el número 25, David Howard, está entrando a los pits, algún problema con su Chevy March y tan temprano una visita no será precisamente lo mejor para él. Aquí está la pizarra, Bob Wollek que está manejando el carro número 8 en este momento, que encabeza la prueba, John Paul Jr. en el 45, en segundo Al Holbert, Randy Lanier y Emerson Fittipaldi, los primeros 5 en orden.
That's the top 5 as they run right now, but it's 3 hours they've got to go, or if you really want to be technical about it, 2 hours and 55 minutes or less. There were 37 cars on the starting line taking a green flag. That was the largest field starting, and that makes it probably even tougher because some of them are going to go away.
That is an enormous field on a circuit that is as narrow and short as this. They're going to have a lot of problems, obviously, when they pass the back markers. I mean, it's going to be really extremely difficult. They're going to depend a lot on A, the drivers, and B, on the flag marshals, who can't see that much on short, twisty circuits. It's a very, very difficult problem.
Y ya tuvimos este problema al que se refiere Sterling Moss en la carrera GTU que ustedes acaban de ver, y los oficiales no marcan con la bandera azul con claridad a los líderes, o más bien a los rezagados, que dejen pasar a los líderes. Entonces habrá problemas, como ya los hubo en GTU, con más razón en estos modelos más rápidos, más grandes, más poderosos y que pueden ocasionar más dolores de cabeza.
One thing I think we should point out, that quite a few of these cars not only have cooling, the driver cooling, but they also have radios.
All right, let's go down pit lane where Chris Economiki's standing by.
Hey Jay, he put your car in front right away. What kind of fuel consumption are you going to have? One stop or two? And how will the brakes hold up?
Well, I think the brakes hold up good, and Bob's real good, and I was the one that wanted him to start the race because he had a lot more laps than I did in the car. But I think we're in good shape.
The fact that he's a 24-hour driver means he's easy on a car, doesn't it?
He's easy and he's very strong here. He knows how to drive a horse.
Okay, what about the guy right behind him? He's a tough man. Do you think he'll be able to hold him off?
Yeah, he's real tough too. It's going to be tough between the top 5 cars.
And how many laps before he stops and you get in?
We'll probably try to run a little over an hour.
Okay, good luck to you. Thanks, A.J. Foyt. Back to you, Bruce.
Well, if he's talking about going a little over an hour, they're talking about 2 stops from the outset.
Por lo menos, una de las grandes leyendas del automovilismo, A.J. Foyt, entrevistado por Chris Economaki, dice que van a correr poco más de 1 hora con Bob Wollek al timón y después el cambio de piloto para que A.J. Foyt tome el auto. Tiene confianza en Bob Wollek y piensa que seguramente le dejará el coche en primer lugar. Pero, claro, el hecho de que estén planeando después de 1 hora cambiar el piloto quiere decir que habrá por lo menos 2 paradas de pit para el auto número 8 de Bob Wollek y A.J. Foyt. Pero por lo pronto ellos están en primer lugar y habrá que quitárselos. Ellos no lo regalarán. Esas son las posiciones. Wollek en primer lugar, John Paul Jr. en segundo, Al Holbert en tercero. Nosotros en un momento más y con esta hermosa panorámica los vamos a dejar. Iremos a unos mensajes y después estaremos de vuelta para continuar con el Gran Premio de Miami. en vivo desde las calles de la capital del sol, el Gran Premio de Miami. Hay nuevo líder, John Paul Jr. ya rebasó a Bob Wollek. Wollek ha caído al segundo lugar. Detrás de él, Holbert, y la pelea está con menos de 4 segundos de distancia entre los primeros 6 lugares. Toda una batalla aquí en Miami.
The race is barely 10 minutes old. The lead has already changed 2 different times, and John Paul Jr., the youngster, doing quite well. Back out in front around Bob Wollek. Now, Sterling, at this early stage, they're just hammering him, it seems like. Does anybody look to you like they're driving him smoothly and easily?
Yeah, they look as though they're doing a pretty smooth job out there, but don't forget they're already catching up, passing back markers, which is where Bob Wollek's car is a good thing. Having a bright car like that, and I don't mean white, a bright car like his is orange, shows up. If a guy's looking in his mirror and he suddenly sees a bright, different coloured car, he's more likely to give way and get over. The other guys following will obviously benefit as well.
Empiezan ya a rebasar algunos rezagados y apenas llevamos 10 minutos de la carrera, pero ya se están produciendo estos rebases y las batallas se suceden una a otra. Pero aquí pueden ver a John Paul en el número 45, en el primer lugar Bob Wollek detrás de él en el 8, Holbert en el 14, Randy Lanier en el 1 y Emerson Fittipaldi en el 85. Como les decía hace un momento, menos de 4 segundos entre estos 5 competidores y ya ha habido 2 cambios de líder en 10 minutos de carrera que llevamos más o menos.
The top 5 leaderboard there for you. The 2-time world champion who made such a run at this event last year, number 85, Emerson Fittipaldi, sitting in 5th, not in a bad position. He came on last year like a bandit in the latter one half of the race, didn't he, Sterling?
Yeah, I must say he's a good long-distance driver and can pace himself out very well, which is very important, of course, here.
Qué emociones nos dio Emerson Fittipaldi en 1984. En su número 85, en el espíritu de Miami, empezó poco a poco a acercarse a los Jaguares y créanme que si no interviene un problema técnico, los alcanza, pero tuvo que abandonar la carrera. Sin embargo, a todo mundo dejó con un excelente sabor de boca.
We're going to take the opportunity right now to go back down pit lane where Chris Economaki has got another report for us. Chris?
Okay, down here in the pit, Chip Robinson, the Super V driver who was put on the Jaguar team, seems to be sitting here. What are you paying attention to, Chip? You don't look like you're watching the race.
No, I'm just sort of trying to get ready for my first stint in the car.
The Jaguars were 1-2 here last year, but they're not doing well right now. Is that part of the plan, to take it easy at the start?
Well, you know, it's a long race. We're going to try to do it on one fuel stop. And, you know, we'll be able to make up a lot of time there, so we're probably running a little slow to make sure we have the fuel to go an hour and a half.
Are they sure they can do it on one fuel stop?
Yeah.
Okay, that's part of the race strategy. The Jaguars to stop only once. Back to you, Bruce.
Once might be enough to take the victory.
Aquí estamos viendo un auto que pues parece ser ya quedó fuera de competencia. Es con Ford y Alberto Naón, el Chevy Silver, que por cierto está patrocinado o estaba patrocinado por el Puma, uno de los artistas más populares, pero pues aparentemente ya ha quedado fuera. Lo que nos platicaba Chip Robinson allá en la entrevista que le hizo Chris Economaki es que la estrategia de los Jaguares, que ganaron por cierto el año pasado el 1-2, es hacer solamente una parada en los pits. Entonces están llevándose las cosas con calma porque piensan que de esa forma van a ganar mucho tiempo.
The pit area suddenly getting quite active, and a couple more, as you can see on your TV screens at home, are headed that way. Nose pieces rearranged, aerodynamics gone all the heck on a couple of them, but we still press on, and it looks as though there's a number 3 car going right by the start-finish line. He's got a left front wheel about ready to fall clear off of it, it looked like. Just went by our booth. I know that we'll try and pick him up somewhere as it happens.
Hay una bandera amarilla ya, pues debido al accidente que ustedes vieron hace un momento, así que tendrán que juntarse de nuevo los autos, bajar la velocidad. La bandera amarilla está en la pista.
A lot of traffic out there with all of those 37 odd cars that started. Right now it only looks as though maybe 1 or 2 have disappeared. There's our in-car shot. Boy, get the feeling of speed as they go down this racetrack through the streets of Miami. Right now, the car is actually on the manufactured section of the race course, the part that is on the railroad property. Then we'll go over a set of railroad tracks here in just a little while, but a heck of a shot inside the Porsche with Jim Busby.
Vieron ustedes la toma desde la cabina, ahí en el número 67 de Jim Busby. Así es como ve él la carrera y así se ven los carros de enfrente que hay que rebasar.
The leader still John Paul Jr. in that hard-running Buick in a March chassis. And for those of you that really don't follow this form of racing, there are chassis manufacturers here that you don't often find in other forms of racing. March being one of the big ones. Royale is another. Alba, another. Phoenix is another brand. A Rondeau, a Sauber, an Argo. And of course you've got lots of Porsches, a couple of Lolas and things like that. But exotic names of race cars that are only race cars. They don't build things for the street.
Aquí sigue John Paul Jr., número 45, encabezando la prueba. Detrás de él la Micras de segundo, Bob Wollek, persiguiéndole y tratándole de dar alcance.
There's a nice breeze outside right now that is keeping the spectators cool. But inside those cars, Sterling, by now they've built up to probably the maximum heat in the driving department.
Yeah, but the drivers, you must remember, most of the fast drivers have got these cool suits, which of course are an enormous advantage. They've helped drivers come through the weather like this, and they will need that because otherwise it gets unbearable after about half an hour.
Como les decía Bruce Flanders, hay mucha actividad allá en la zona de pits, así que Jesse Lozada está ya listo y nos tiene información. Adelante, Jesse.
Gracias, Jorge. Y Roberto Guerrero, pues a última hora te llamaron para manejar este automóvil. En realidad, ¿cuántas prácticas han tenido? Virtualmente nada, ¿no?
Sí, lógicamente va a ser algo muy difícil. Yo logré hacer únicamente una vuelta en el auto, o sea que simplemente saldré y tratar de hacer el mejor papel sin arriesgar.
¿Cuántas veces dicen que van a tener que parar para combustible ustedes?
A la hora vamos a parar y a la hora manejo yo, o sea, yo voy a manejar la segunda hora.
Así que ustedes nada más que van a parar una vez para combustible.
Sí.
También tienes tu esposa, preséntanos a todos los televidentes hispanos. Sabemos que me dio una sorpresa hace como una semana, ¿no? Creo que van a tener un bebé.
Sí, estamos esperando bebé para fin de septiembre y lógicamente estamos muy contentos.
Ya me lo imagino. Y muchas gracias y felicidades. Jorge.
Gracias, Jesse. That was Roberto Guerrero. He only got one chance to drive the car, so he doesn't feel he's really experienced with it, but he's going to try his best.
He's a heck of a race car driver. We'll see if only one lap around in the practice session is enough. They'll go in at what, approximately 1 hour into the race, right?
He's got to make 2 stops on that car, I think.
Roberto Guerrero a último momento fue llamado para reemplazar a Emilio de Villota en el carro número 84, también de Ralph Sánchez Racing, así que pues dentro de 1 hora estará realmente poniéndose a prueba. Una sola vuelta pudo hacer en el entrenamiento y eso sí que será una tarea difícil. Mientras aquí seguimos con los líderes. Cuando aparece por allá al fondo en la cámara usted vio otra bandera amarilla. Aquí estamos siguiendo al carro número 8 conducido por Bob Wollek, que sigue persiguiendo denodadamente a John.
For those of you that are just joining us, we're 17 minutes into the 3-hour tough fight in the city streets. The Grand Prix of Miami, the 3rd annual Grand Prix. And now, with its biggest crowd ever and its biggest turnout of entries ever, has apparently turned into one of those legendary street races, right?
It really is. It's really gathering momentum here. The enthusiasm is terrific.
Allá vieron en alguna parte de la pista al carro número 11 de Bob Kendall, que quedó contra la pared, así que ese es otro de los que ya no estará aquí en el Gran Premio de Miami en lo que resta esta carrera, que todavía es mucho. Estamos apenas arrancando. Esta es la vuelta número 12. En este momento cruza la meta John Paul Jr. en la vuelta número 12, seguido por Bob Wollek, así que queda mucho, pero mucho camino por recorrer.
There's 2.2 seconds separating first through third positions. And again, it's John Paul Jr. in front, Bob Wollek, who will be teaming with Foyt a little bit later on, running second. And it's Al Holbert, who's teaming with Derek Bell, that are running in the 3rd place spot. I think it's Holbert in the car in the initial stages. And boy, I know we've dwelled on this a lot, but the warmth has got to be in it.
Yeah, but there's one interesting thing, that is their lap times are reasonably conservative. They're nowhere near the times that we're doing in practice as one would expect. Obviously they wouldn't be, but I think you'll find that all of those leading cars don't want to go too fast because they don't want to make more stops than they have to. If one breaks away and starts to pull away, then the others have to follow him. And they've all got the same problem. Who's going to try? It's very interesting tactical problem there. I think you'll find the winning car will probably only make 1 stop and will be won by the people with the best tacticians there.
Bueno, pues el calor tiene que estar empezando a afectarlos, pero según dice Sterling Moss, están manejando conservador casi todos los tiempos que están haciendo en las vueltas son bastante inferiores a los tiempos de calificación. Esto es de esperarse, pero de cualquier manera están cuidando los vehículos, tratando de hacer el menor número de paradas posible, mientras aquí Bob Wollek está buscando algún hueco por el que colarse y recuperar el liderazgo. Tiene pegado a John Paul Jr.
You're watching that battle for first and second right there. The white car with the number 45 and the blue trim. That's John Paul Jr. with that Buick car. Right behind him, Bob Wollek in the Preston Hen sponsored car, the T-Bird swap shops. Interesting to note, Preston Hen is also a very, very good driver, the owner of this car. He is listed as a possible third driver if something were to go wrong. Say, for instance, Foyt or Wollek were to get sick or overcome with the heat. He's here, he's got his driving suit on, but I don't think he'll see action.
Aquí sigue la batalla y ahora pues parece ser que Al Holbert está tomando el segundo lugar. Súbitamente apareció de quién sabe dónde y se llevó a Bob Wollek. Al Holbert está ahora en segundo.
Al Holbert has moved that Porsche into the second place spot. So Porsche against Porsche for the battle for second, and Holbert is now taking it over. That moves the Wollek Foyt car back to third.
Parecía increíble porque Wollek estaba a milímetros de rebasar a John Paul y ahora las cosas ya son distintas. Tiene usted a Al Holbert en segundo lugar, pegado a él Bob Wollek y adelante de todos John Paul Jr.
I think one thing we want to know, and that is that if the Porsche has moved up in second place, that is Bob Holbert, of course, it's because he's probably afraid that the leader's going to get too far away, and he can't afford that to happen. And that's why, because he wants to keep within striking distance. Because he told me himself that providing the lap times don't go much quicker than 1:27, and they're not yet, he can do it in one stop.
Así que así están las posiciones, sacando un poco más de ventaja John Paul Jr. sobre Al Holbert. Detrás de él viene Bob Wollek, que son los primeros tres en este Gran Premio de Miami, al que todavía le queda mucha cuerda. Ya en quinto lugar viene Emerson Fittipaldi tratando de darles alcance. Esas son las posiciones hasta el momento en esto que está convirtiéndose en una batalla realmente sensacional. Nuestra toma del dirigible, donde pueden ustedes ver a los líderes. Nosotros vamos a hacer una pausa y en un momento más estaremos de vuelta a la emoción del automovilismo aquí en Miami. Estamos de regreso en la ciudad de Miami. Ustedes ven ahí a todos los yates que están disfrutando de las emociones de esta carrera y evidentemente con mucha comodidad en esta pista que bordea al mar, aquí en una de las zonas más hermosas del estado de la Florida. Vamos a ver el problema que tuvo uno de los automóviles, el número... Aquí está la repetición. Es John Paul Jr., el hombre que estaba en el liderato, giró por completo y no perdió gran cosa de tiempo. Ahí está de nuevo arrancando, así que tenemos nuevo líder. Al Holbert está ahora en primer lugar.
Seems like a minor miracle that John Paul even survived that spin without any major damage.
That was a beautiful spin if you have to do one. I must say everybody got round him, and I don't think he touched any end at all, did he?
Okay, so the lead has changed once again, and now we have got Al Holbert in front and Bob Wollek in the second place spot, and it looks as though number 45, John Paul Jr., managed to gather it back up and is now sitting back in the third place position. Fittipaldi putting on a run. Emerson Fittipaldi is now up to the fourth place spot, and David Hobbs starting to look strong in fifth.
Empezándose a acercar Emerson Fittipaldi, ese patinón le costó a John Paul Jr. el primero y el segundo lugar, así que ahora está en tercero y aquí está nuestro líder. Es Al Holbert en el carro número 14, un Porsche 962, está ahora encabezando la competencia. Bob Wollek se mantiene en segundo, John Paul Jr. en tercero y allá viene ya apretando Emerson, el brasileño volador, el ex campeón mundial Fórmula 1, tratando de nuevo de colarse entre los líderes.
Number 3 right now with Al Holbert in front of it, and here he comes heading down towards the start-finish line area. Holbert in front with quite a bit of time in hand over the second place of Wollek. In fact, John Paul back after Wollek. There's a 6.8-second lead. It's Holbert in front, then Wollek with John Paul right on his tail in third.
Y Emerson Fittipaldi ya está en cuarto lugar y pisándole los talones a John Paul Jr. Lo que sí que Al Holbert ha abierto un poco de ventaja. Claro que recuerden que Al Holbert trae un Porsche 962 con turbocargador y es posible que él tenga que hacer por lo menos 2 visitas a los pits para ya sea cambiar llantas y recargar combustible.
It looked as though Bob Wollek used traffic there quite well. Put one of the backmarker cars between he and John Paul Jr. But John Paul Jr. will dispense with him in a hurry if he's been running up the form.
It was interesting to me why he spun. It didn't look as though there was anything in his way. Perhaps his brakes were uneven, because normally to spin means that you have a locking back brake like that. And I wonder why that should happen, because I don't think they're really dicing yet.
Mientras aquí John Paul Jr. sigue atorado y no puede rebasar a ese rezagado, y eso le está costando mucha ventaja. Le están sacando el resto de los competidores. Vean ya, Emerson Fittipaldi está pegado atrás de John Paul Jr. Vamos a ver Emerson también con problemas para rebasar a ese rezagado. Finalmente lo hace y sigue pegado a John Paul Jr.
You're watching the number 45 car, now currently sitting in the third place spot, John Paul Jr. The thing of interest, right behind him, here comes Emerson Fittipaldi in number 85. Strong run being put on. Both of these cars are March chassis. The first one, the one John Paul's in, with a Buick V6, the one is driving the more traditional racing motor in America, the V8 Chevy.
¿Qué problemas tuvieron para rebasar? Y era Lynn St. James, la única mujer que está como piloto en este Gran Premio de Miami. Dice su carro, mujer que trabaja, y sí que tiene que trabajar aquí, y también hizo trabajar a los rivales para rebasarla. Les costó mucho trabajo.
The only lady taking a ride this weekend in the GTP category, Lynn St. James. Not only is she a good race car driver, but a very pretty lady too. Emerson has gotten by him right there. Fittipaldi has now taken over the third place spot. John Paul Jr. back to fourth, and things suddenly aren't looking as good for the Buick.
Empieza el brasileño volador a subir. Ahí está ya rebasando a John Paul Jr. Emerson Fittipaldi en el 85. Carro de Ralph Sánchez Racing, promotor de este evento. Está ahora en tercer lugar y abriendo ventaja sobre John Paul Jr. Yo no sé, John Paul, después de esa patinada que dio, tal vez no, ese trompo terrible, tal vez no las trae todas consigo luego de eso.
The number 85 car that's now moved into the third place spot is actually owned by the race promoter, and it is called the Spirit of Miami. What a people are taken to this car too.
Ahí aparentemente ya en la vuelta número 1 se está agitándose ya a lo lejos desde esta cabina de transmisiones.
Are normally the weak point in these cars. That's what got Fittipaldi last year. He was in a great position up into second place. Looks like a yellow flag waving in a couple of spots out on the corners. Some individual incidents might have been taking place. Nothing major. I don't think we're going to any yellow flag all the way around the track at all.
Que cuando la bandera amarilla tiene que aparecer en toda la pista para que descienda la velocidad de todos los autos y mantenga sus posiciones, pero se cierren las distancias. Y como eso aparentemente no ha ocurrido, pues entonces siguen corriendo a toda velocidad. Aquí estamos viendo a John Paul Jr. Pero pues ya lo rebasó Fittipaldi y ahora es cuesta arriba lo que tendrá que hacer John Paul.
Fittipaldi about ready to reel in the car of John Gunn, the Phoenix car, the one that has rearranged its front bodywork. It's probably about as aerodynamic as a brick now, the way it's shaped. That was John Paul going by John Gunn right there. Gunn practically destroyed this car yesterday afternoon in the very last practice session, and it was a heavy thrash all night long to get it together. There's the top five, the way they sit. Holbert in front, Wollek, Fittipaldi, Paul Jr. in fourth, and David Hobbs now up to fifth.
David Hobbs, que por cierto está haciendo buena labor, ya va en quinto lugar y sigue batallando. Y pasa por la meta el líder, Al Holbert, completando ya 20 vueltas de este circuito por las calles de Miami, pero falta mucho camino por recorrer. Esto es apenas el principio. Y está Emerson Fittipaldi en el 85 tomando esa curva y apretándose esta carrera. Creo que faltan muchas y muy grandes emociones aún. Hasta el momento limpia la carrera, no ha habido problemas de consideración en la pista.
David Hobbs driving the Diatley car, doing quite well. That is a shot right there of the Jermaine Jackson-sponsored number 84 with Jan Lammers at the wheel, and he's quite a spectacular driver, isn't he, Sterling?
He is very fast, very good. I think you'll find him quite easily do well. The only problem he's faced with, he knows he has to make 2 fuel stops. Therefore, he really needs to get going as fast as he can into this session. The other problem is that he's had he's not too sure which co-driver he's going to have right up to the beginning of the race when Guerrero came in, and therefore he doesn't know the circuit with this car, although he doesn't know the track, of course. But that is obviously must be a bit of a problem.
Y será un problema si es el carro que patrocina Jermaine Jackson, también de Ralph Sánchez Racing. En este momento está conducido este auto número 84 por Jan Lammers, pero tendrá que ser sustituido. Guerrero pues no ha podido entrenar demasiado con este carro, solamente una vuelta a la pista pudo dar y eso evidentemente le traerá problemas. No solo eso, además este carro tendrá que hacer por lo menos 2 visitas a los pits. Y hablando de los pits, allá está Jesse Lozada y vamos a ir a un reporte. Adelante, Jesse.
Bueno, Jorge, uno de los problemas más serios que a veces suceden en esta carrera, especialmente más adelante, es el calor que afecta mucho a los corredores dentro de sus automóviles. Tenemos con nosotros a Tony Garcia, que es el copiloto del automóvil de Emerson Fittipaldi, que nos va a explicar cómo funciona este sistema especial que va dentro del casco para enfriamiento. ¿Cómo funciona esto, Tony?
Bueno, pues el sistema este es un sistema que va conectado a como una nevera que tiene hielo y agua fría. El agua fría circula a través de una bomba, entra por los tubos estos, tiene un tubo de entrada y un tubo de salida, circula unos tubos minúsculos que hay adentro del liner este. Fue un sistema hecho especialmente para los astronautas. Entonces esto es un casco que se pone en la cabeza, va así metido en la cabeza, y es el área donde uno puede despedir más calor. Entonces, si uno logra sacar el calor de la cabeza, automáticamente saca el calor del cuerpo completo.
Y esto mejora, sin lugar a dudas, las posibilidades de que no sufra ningún problema con el calor, ¿no?
No debe haber ningún problema. Esto, la mejora es increíble y no causa ningún problema.
Tony, muchas gracias y buena suerte.
Muchas gracias, Jesse.
Y ahora regresamos con Holbert.
Gracias, Jesse. That was Tony Garcia. He was explaining the cooling system of the helmets, which he and Emerson Fittipaldi are using. They are teammates. Part of the 85. No ha cambiado aún el asunto en cuanto a las posiciones. Sigue Al Holbert encabezando la competencia y Emerson Fittipaldi ya tomó el segundo lugar. Ha seguido Emerson Fittipaldi subiendo, mientras vemos aquí al carro número 61 de Don Courtney, de aquí de Florida, de Hialeah, con un problema y seguramente tendrá que abandonar la prueba.
You got a shot in there for just a second of Don Courtney and his number 61 Ford Royale that had spun out, apparently hurting their chances a little bit, but they will be able to limp it back to the pit area and put it back in the race. Al Holbert still in front. Interesting to note, he is now the representative for Porsche as their factory racing rep in North America. Now, isn't it a little tough to have the boss beat you and everything?
Well, yes, I reckon it is. People are going to sort of feel he's got something better than they have. But I don't think that's likely to happen. I think that his association with Porsche has been too long. I think it's too smart. And there's no doubt that he's a very, very competent driver, as did his father. His father raced at my era. In fact, I wasn't sure that his father was coming until I met him.
Estamos siguiendo de nuevo a el carro número 84 que está conduciendo Jan Lammers y que es también parte de Ralph Sánchez Racing. Veremos cómo le va en el resto de la carrera. Por lo pronto vamos a unos mensajes y regresamos en un momento a Miami.
Está usted viendo el tercer Grand Prix anual traído a ustedes por cortesía de Ford Motor Company, Eastern Airlines, las alas de América, y por Coca-Cola.
Esta es la toma desde las alturas, desde el dirigible Enterprise de Goodyear, basado en Pompano Beach, Florida. El piloto es el capitán Don Ploskonak, desde Randolph, Ohio. El Enterprise es uno de los 4 dirigibles de Goodyear. 3 están ubicados en los Estados Unidos y el cuarto, que es el más nuevo, está basado en Roma, Italia. Es una adición maravillosa a nuestra cobertura aquí del Gran Premio de Miami. Bueno, Sammy Davis Jr. está aquí y Josie Mejía tuvo oportunidad de platicar con él. Vamos para allá.
Cientos de famosos están congregados en el día de hoy en un restaurante que Regis ha tomado para que sus amigos puedan ver las carreras. Estamos conversando con uno de los más famosos, one of the most famous people are here seeing the races today, Sammy Davis Jr. Sammy, how are you enjoying the races?
Well, so far, I've enjoyed the atmosphere very much. I haven't seen anything yet because I've been involved with seeing friends.
Oh, it's good to see friends and to see the races at the same time. And it's good to bring out to these, Mrs. Margaret Cohen, la señora Margaret Cohen, out to these days. También se encuentran en la tarde de hoy observando las carreras. How do you feel to be here?
I think it's very exciting so far. I like it.
You like it?
We're thrilled to be here and happy and anxious to see the race.
Están deseosas de ver la carrera que está por comenzar o que está en estos momentos en curso. Nosotros desde aquí no estamos muy conscientes porque las personas están verdaderamente en fiesta. Well, thank you very much for speaking to us. Nosotros regresamos a la torre de control.
Gracias, Josie. Pues sí, la verdad es que desde allá se puede ver poco, pero ahí están los monitores de S&N y desde los monitores ellos pueden seguir el desarrollo de esta prueba. Y les tenemos una, a cierto punto, mala noticia. Ahí está en los pits varios carros, entre ellos el de Lammers y Roberto Guerrero, número 84 de Ralph Sánchez Racing, que pues ha tenido que hacer una visita inesperada a los pits.
Jan Lammers, who was running as high as the 5th position right now, that was a shot of him into the pit area. It's too early for a scheduled pit stop. They're only 38 minutes into a 3-hour race, so it would signify problems. There's one other thing, well, I'll get to it in a minute. Right now, we're going to take a chance to give you the listing of the top positions. As we said right now, John Paul Jr. has been backing up to 5th. Hobbs has moved up to 4th. Wollek holding steadily in the 3rd place spot. Fittipaldi is suddenly part of the story of this whole race up to 2nd, and it's still Holbert in front.
En la pantalla está el carro de Hobbs, pero la verdad es que Emerson Fittipaldi está acercándose poco a poco al primer lugar de Holbert. Está cerrando la distancia que hay entre primero y segundo lugar. Ya cayó hasta John Paul Jr. y aquí pueden ver los problemas por los que está pasando el carro de Peter Weller, que pues ya no trae chasis. Es un problema ese número 37, lleno de problemas, pero que pues ahí está regresando a la pista.
One way to note this, you'll see a lot of cars towards the end of this race that don't even hardly appear as a car anymore. The points are so valuable to them that they'll continue to keep wrenching on them and put them back together. There's a problem with the Cowart Miller car. They have apparently spun, looks dead motor. The door is open like as if the driver has already climbed out. They're not in a good spot to be doing that. The differential between 1st and 2nd place is only 2.3 seconds, and we've got a great race live in the streets of Miami.
Ese es el carro de Peter Weller. Bueno, aquí estamos en el de David Cowart, que aparentemente tuvo un trompo y se quedó ahí en la pista. Está abierta la puerta, lo cual significa que el piloto seguramente ya salió. Por ello usted ve agitarse la bandera amarilla allá atrás y pues eso está deteniendo a los carros en esta parte de la pista, cuando parece que hay un cambio de líder. Emerson Fittipaldi ya hizo el rebase de Holbert y ahora el brasileño volador está en primer lugar con el espíritu de Miami, encabezando el Gran Premio de casa. Ya volvió a la pista el otro carro de ese mismo equipo, el 84 de Jan Lammers y de Roberto Guerrero.
All right, we've got a new leader right now. It's Fittipaldi in front of Holbert as there's been a change. We're going to go down to pit lane now and talk to Chris Economaki.
I'm down in the pits with last year's winner, Brian Redman, who's a pedestrian now. Brian, your cars took $75,000 out of here last year, 1st and 2nd place, and you're walking. What's the problem?
Well, the problem was something's broken in the gearbox selector, because it wouldn't select a gear. I came to change gear from 2nd to 3rd on this back straight here, and there was nothing there.
Now, the other car is not doing well either. Is it suffering from the same problem?
I don't think so. It had a brush with the wall, and he came in to replace a tire and a wheel, so that may be the cause for the delay there.
I see. So, it's a feast one year and a famine the next. Back to you, Bruce.
Okay, boy, he's right on that call.
Brian Redman explicando los problemas que están teniendo los Jaguares. Aparentemente los Jaguares están sin poder en realidad generar la terrible fuerza que tuvieron el año pasado cuando se llevaron el 1-2. David Hobbs acaba de entrar a los pits, el número 29, y es uno de los carros que estaba en muy buen lugar, iba en 5º lugar David Hobbs, pero pues ahora defenderá esa posición porque tuvo que hacer una parada.
The pit area getting quite active at the moment, although it's not by design, and we've got a yellow flag and a pace car out onto the racetrack. Although it looks as though the pace car did not get in front of who we thought was the leader. We were listing number 85, Fittipaldi, as the leader, but the pace car drops in behind Holbert. We'll try and find out more on that one for you. But they're bunching up behind the pace car now.
Sí, es una situación un tanto cuanto extraña. Emerson Fittipaldi desde luego estaba encabezando la prueba porque sí rebasó a Holbert. Sin embargo, el carro insignia ha salido a la pista debido a la bandera amarilla y se ha colocado frente a Holbert. O sea que pues tendremos, espero yo, una explicación acerca de esto en un momento más. Mientras tanto, y mientras el carro insignia está en la pista y todos los demás se forman atrás de él a velocidades muy moderadas, nosotros vamos a hacer una pausa y llevarlos hasta unos mensajes, aunque parece que pues los carros están ya amontonándose atrás del insignia y sigo buscando buscando a Emerson Fittipaldi y no aparece por ningún lado. Pero pues ya saldrá y tendremos una explicación acerca de por qué no está el carro insignia adelante de Emerson, que es donde realmente debería estar, puesto que Fittipaldi es el líder en la competencia después de haber rebasado a Holbert. Sin embargo, pues la bandera amarilla sigue agitándose en toda la pista y veremos cuál es el resultado de esto en cuanto allá en la torre de control se pongan de acuerdo en las anotaciones.
Well, they're gathering behind a pace car, but it appears as though Wollek, who's listed in the second place spot, has gone around the pace car or else never got picked up by it. We'll find out the answers to all of this as we tighten back up the Miami Grand Prix.
Bueno, esta es la toma panorámica y pueden ver a los carros en fila mientras nosotros vamos a hacer una pausa y regresaremos a Miami después de estos mensajes. Bueno, aparentemente hay una bandera negra para el carro número 85 de Emerson Fittipaldi. Por cierto, ya entró Tony Garcia a la cabina de piloto y lo mismo parece ser le ha ocurrido a Bob Wollek en el carro número 8. Y ese es el reporte oficial que tenemos y esperaremos o vamos a ver en un momento más la razón por la que se llevaron la bandera negra. Aquí está la repetición, aquí está el carro insignia y allá viene Emerson Fittipaldi. Ahí lo tienen todavía encabezando la prueba, el carro insignia por ahí y pues Fittipaldi va bien hasta el momento. Allá va Wollek en tercer lugar, así estaban. Y yo no sé si Fittipaldi y Wollek rebasaron al carro insignia o qué pasó, pero pues aquí lo vamos a ver, rebasó al carro insignia. Ahí lo tienen, ahí están Wollek y Fittipaldi rebasando al carro insignia y eso les va a costar valiosos segundos.
We went to replay there for just a second to show you why number 85 has actually been given a black flag. It'll be a penalty involvement, but the number 85 car, which was leading with Emerson Fittipaldi, actually passed the pace car while the lights were on, and the pace car was on out on the track. Now, there's a lot of discussion going on down along in the pit lane, and we would expect that there's some unhappy people down there at the moment.
Es evidente, ahí los ánimos están muy calientes. Emerson Fittipaldi está muy enojado y está hablando, supongo yo, que con un oficial de la carrera, y muy agitado Emerson Fittipaldi, el brasileño, está furioso porque cree no merecer la bandera negra. Ahí lo tienen azotando los guantes con rabia y bueno, pues así es el deporte del automovilismo.
I think in the English language it might be best said that they're getting a little tense. I think they may have just disqualified Fittipaldi for passing the pace car.
It looks like that, and Fittipaldi is blaming that marshal. It may or may not be his fault, but I know exactly how he must feel, because look, he's winning not only the race but everything else, and then for that to happen, he obviously did it by mistake, and normally one would have thought they'd have penalised him, shall we say, a lap or whatever. Whether he's going to get back in and go, goodness knows. I mean, they've still got the yellow flag out.
Pero es evidente que Fittipaldi probablemente no vuelva a la carrera, se está quitando ya todo el equipo y es posible que lo hayan descalificado. Así que vamos allá a la zona de pits donde Jesse Lozada tiene la historia. Adelante, Jesse.
Well, we've been trying to go down to the pit lane to see what has been going on. Maybe that the censors have gotten a hold of our audience right now.
I wouldn't want to go up and interview him at the moment, would you?
It doesn't seem like the best moment.
No, me parece que todavía está el asunto muy agitado allá en los pits y no tendremos información sino hasta dentro de unos momentos. Allá están Chris Economaki, también está Jesse Lozada, por lo menos recogiendo la historia para que nos platiquen qué es lo que está contendiendo Emerson Fittipaldi, que sigue agitando los brazos allá en los pits, y mientras tanto en la pista ya el carro insignia ha entrado, se levanta la bandera amarilla y estamos de nuevo en competencia.
Meanwhile, we have gone back green on the racetrack. The pace car has gone up, and Holbert is out in front. Hobbs is second. Haywood is up into the third place spot, and John Paul Jr., who made a pit stop during that time, is actually listed in the fourth place spot, but he's towards the back of the pack and has to work his way back through. So we're in a bunch of cars out there working hard.
But he has got new tyres.
Oh, yes.
Or at least fuel, so I think he's feeling fairly happy even though he couldn't marshal those cars.
Así que ahora cambiado diametralmente. Al Holbert está en primer lugar, Hobbs en segundo, Haywood en tercero, John Paul Jr. está en cuarto, pero claro, pues con muchos carros entre él y los líderes, aunque sí con probablemente llantas nuevas o más combustible, porque John Paul Jr. sí hizo una visita que los demás no consiguieron. El que ya está de vuelta en la carrera y de nuevo participando es Jan Lammers, que es el que pensábamos tenía las menos posibilidades del equipo local, el equipo de casa, pero pues con la descalificación de Fittipaldi es la única esperanza para ellos.
The number 85 car is back out onto the racing track. Now, what position he's actually in, I don't know. But he is out there.
Bueno, vamos a Chris Economaki.
Okay, let's go down to Chris Economaki, ready with the story. Chris?
Emerson, I don't think I've ever seen you so mad. What's the trouble?
When I come behind the pace car, was leading the race, they waved me by and they waved Bob Wollek by, and now they give black flag and they want penalize. And I was winning the race, and I asked the pace car, I'm first. And he said, no, you go by. And then they give me the black flag. I don't admit that. I never saw in my 20 years of racing career.
Okay, there you hear it right from the man involved. Emerson Fittipaldi is upset with the officiating of the race because he was taken out of the lead and now is way in the back. Back to you, Bruce.
All right, it's Tony Garcia behind the wheel and the car is back on the course, but no longer leading.
Bueno, pues no fue descalificación como acabamos de descubrir. Ya está de nuevo en la pista el número 85, esta vez conducido por Tony Garcia, pero Emerson Fittipaldi está furioso. Y yo tiendo a pensar que con toda la razón dice que salió el carro insignia, que le hicieron la señal de que rebasara, entonces tanto Fittipaldi como el número 8 que conducía Wollek lo rebasaron. Y después dijo el oficial que siempre no, que tenían que irse hasta atrás. Le dice Fittipaldi, no, si yo soy el número 1, estoy liderando la competencia. Le dijeron, no, tienes que ir hasta atrás. Le sacaron la bandera negra, le pusieron la penalización y eso lo tiene fuera de sí. En sus 20 años de competencia, dice Emerson, nunca he visto nada igual.
Well, at the same time, the situation apparently applies to the Foyt and Wollek car, although they were not in that position where it cost them so much money for that move. But we'll have to see as the race settles back in where they come from. The number 14 car in command of the situation right now, Al Holbert and Derek Bell in front of it.
Así que vamos a echar un vistazo a la pizarra para ver cómo ha cambiado esto. Al Holbert en primer lugar, Haywood en segundo con ese 0-4 junto con Redman, uno de los Jaguares que pues dada toda esta confusión han ganado bastante terreno. Luego está Hobbs, luego John Paul Jr. y pues es el número 15 que viene ahí de Kalagian, está bastante lejecito. John Kalagian bastante lejos de los líderes.
The Jaguar seems to have been now suddenly the only Jaguar is now up into the second place spot.
Yeah, and he's not only that, he's only about 2 seconds behind the leader. But that was such a mess, I don't know what's going to happen officially. It's very, very difficult to make a decision.
Todavía tiene muchas dudas acerca de qué será el resultado final, porque claro, la decisión está dada, pero falta mucho que alegar. Créanme que esto difícilmente se quedará así.
You're watching the Jaguar trying to put a lap on Jan Lammers right now, which the Jaguar will actually get off the corner with an awful lot of steam. It's kind of a longer wheelbase car, and it's not really built for the tighter courses.
No, but it doesn't half-handle this place well. It won last year, they were first and second, and they're reckoning only on one pit stop. They've got a lot of things going for.
Bueno, pues acabo de ver a Tony Garcia cruzar por aquí por la meta número 85 y ahora le tiene que sacar una vuelta completa a Al Holbert para alcanzarlo. Vamos a hacer una pausa y regresamos al Gran Premio de Miami en un momento.
Okay, Emerson Fittipaldi has been talking with Bob Wollek, who just left this point a moment ago. This is the car owner of the car Wollek and A.J. Foyt are driving. They're complaining vigorously to the officials. Well, Wollek is coming back now. We're going to get a word with him about this black flag incident, and they're taken out of the lead. Hey, Bob! Bob Wollek!
That's the Jim Downing gun.
I will try to get him over there. He walked over there. We'll get down here to see if we can't get him. At any rate, both Fittipaldi and Wollek say that in 20 years of racing, they have never seen an official miscue like that. And what we want to find out here is what the officials will do to try and put this situation right. Preston, we're SIN live, and are they going to fix this situation to your satisfaction?
I don't think they're going to fix anything. I think we're penalized the amount you saw, which is about 2 laps. Rightly or wrongly, that's where we are.
I know that. Here's the official. Hey, Neil, I understand there was a mistake made on the part of the officials. Is that correct?
No, sir, there wasn't. I was watching it, and the safety car did not wave them by. The 85 car tried to pass and they put their hand out to stop him, and he went by them anyway.
So they misunderstood the safety car man's signal. You're saying they misunderstood the safety man's signal?
They did not. They're under rules not to pass the safety car.
I'm aware of that, but Wollek and Fittipaldi both say they were waved by the pace car.
They were not waved by. They started to pass, and the safety car tried to stop them.
Okay, now how much of a penalty did you levy when they stopped here in the pit? Oh, he's talking to his other officials in the tower here. This is going to be a cause célèbre for this race. Two of the greatest drivers in the world have been ruled out. All right, a former world champion, Emerson Fittipaldi, and Bob Wollek, the top endurance driver, world endurance champion on more than one occasion, and A.J. Foyt is out there. Now, when Mr. Foyt comes back and finds out what happened now, the explosions will start all over again. Back to you, Bruce.
Okay, Chris has got a handle on what's happening down there in the pit area, and we're trying to keep you up to date on it.
Chris Economaki allá en los pits, más o menos dándonos a conocer todo lo que ocurrió y la terrible controversia que se ha desatado aquí en el Gran Premio de Miami. Los oficiales, por un lado, dicen que no, que el carro insignia sacó los brazos para detener a Fittipaldi y a Wollek que venían atrás. Fittipaldi y Wollek dicen que no, que él sacó el brazo agitándolo y diciéndole que los rebasara. Así que pues esas son las versiones encontradas y todavía no se entera el señor Foyt. Vamos a ver qué pasa cuando lo haga.
Okay, well, we're going to take an opportunity right now to show you that not all of what we do in racing is that tense. Let's go now to a piece with Chris and Economaki a little earlier in the day. Isn't life tough? Okay.
Pasándosela mal el señor Economaki aquí en el Gran Premio de Miami, hablando sobre sus trabajos y tribulaciones para cubrir el Gran Premio de Miami. Y pues, ¿qué les puedo decir? Lo envidio.
And I didn't even know that our hotel had a swimming pool.
Neither did I. Al Holbert está encabezando el Gran Premio de Miami 1985 después de esta controversia que se ha desatado y que ha eliminado a dos de los más connotados y legendarios pilotos del mundo, Emerson Fittipaldi y A.J. Foyt. Si no eliminado, por lo menos les ha costado casi 2 vueltas, así que pues virtualmente no tienen ya oportunidad de ganar la competencia, pero créanme, se va a hablar mucho en el curso de este año y en el curso de la historia de las carreras de automóviles sobre lo que pasó hoy aquí en Miami.
The third annual Grand Prix of Miami is now 1 hour old. It's a 3-hour race. And if the next 2 hours are anywhere near as exciting as the first 1 hour has been, we're in for a good one. Stick with us. We're live in Miami with Al Holbert out in front of it in the Porsche. David Hobbs is now sitting second with a Chevrolet March. John Paul Jr. has moved back up to the 3rd place spot, and that young man is on the run. John Kalagian sitting in the 4th place spot. And Wollek is being shown in 5th on the leaderboard. Now, if he had a 2-lap penalty, how do you get back up to 5th on the leaderboard? This is going to be an interesting day.
Sí, porque claro, la controversia ha descontrolado a todo el mundo. Aquí en nuestro tablero de líderes ya aparece de nuevo Bob Wollek, y eso sí que es extraño después de haber tenido una posición de casi 2 vueltas, así que pues punto menos que inexplicable. Al Holbert está definitivamente encabezando la prueba, también allí en la pelea está Hobbs con el 29, el Jaguar 04 de Haywood también está cerca, así que pues esa es la situación aquí en este agitado día. Llevamos 1 hora de competencia, faltan 2 horas más de Gran Premio de Miami y pues ojalá que estén igual de interesantes que estuvo la primera hora, porque créanme usted que volaron chispas allá en los pits y volaron chispas en toda la pista cuando el público se enteró de lo que ha ocurrido. Nosotros, mientras tanto, y mientras vemos aquí pasar al líder, Al Holbert, a quien nuestras cámaras verán en un momento más, aquí estamos con el Jaguar número 04 de Haywood, tratando de avanzar lugares. Nosotros vamos a ir mientras a unos mensajes y regresaremos en un momento más al Gran Premio de Miami 1985. En el Gran Premio de Miami, versión 1985, llena de controversia, llena de emociones. Al Holbert está encabezando la prueba, él mantiene el primer lugar.
Well, it's been a heck of a story so far, live here in Miami, and I think we've got more on it. Let's go down pit lane, where the editor and publisher of National Speed and Sport News, Chris Economaki, is standing by once again.
Okay, auto racing is said to be a high-pressure, ulcer-type business. I'm in the pit of the leading car. Al Holbert out on the racetrack. His co-driver getting ready to go in. Or is he? Derek Bell says and he hopes it takes another 15 minutes. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to wake you up, Derek, but aren't you going to take the car over shortly?
Yeah, in about 10 minutes, I expect, yeah. But it's best just to try and relax because they're going to be working pretty hard out there.
Can you really relax under these circumstances?
Yes, because there's, there's plenty of room just where we are. There's not too many people, so it's very pleasant right here under that palm tree.
What about all the perfume and everything here?
There's a young lady, she thought I was about 29. I told her I was 49, and she didn't believe me.
I see. Well, she's still trying. And there you have it from the pit. The tough life of the racing driver.
Another one of those tough stories from the pit area from Chris Economaki.
Sí, se la sigue pasando mal el señor Economaki, no solamente él, sino Derek Bell, quien está a solo poco menos de 10 minutos de tomar comando del carro que va liderando la competencia, pues tomándosela con calma, con tranquilidad. Dice que no le molesta todo el perfume que lo rodea, así que en unos momentos más estará conduciendo el auto que va encabezando la prueba, que por el momento está usando Al Holbert. Con otro reporte vamos ahora a Josie Mejía, que nos tiene más información.
Otro grupo de famosos está aquí congregado. Ahora está Regine, está conversando nada menos que con Jermaine Jackson. Hello, ¿cómo están? We've been seen in 30 countries around the world. So we have to say hello in many, many different languages, but we'll try to do it in English and in Spanish. Les estaba diciendo que como nos están viendo en como 30 países, vamos a tratar de hacerlo un poco en inglés y un poco en español. ¿Cómo se siente estar aquí? How do you feel to be here?
I feel wonderful. I'm very excited. This is my first race. I have a car in the race, and I'm singing the anthem, and I understand I'm the Grand Marshal. I'm thrilled.
Oh, good. Grand Marshal. That's good. She looks like the Grand Marshal.
Yes, I put my own decoration.
Oh, you have another one? Las decoraciones que están de moda. Fantástica. La señorita Laurel Kaiser y Mauricio Selig también son de ciertos canales de televisión, revistas que están en este momento cubriendo desde todas partes del mundo estas fantásticas carreras. Welcome.
Hello, how are you today?
How do you feel to be here?
So exciting with all of these people and everything, and it's so wonderful for Miami. It's really special.
Yo creo que Miami se convierte en una ciudad muy importante cuando tiene a Jermaine Jackson, a Regine, a todas estas personalidades en una carrera que de verdad es Miami a toda carrera con mucho lucimiento.
Con mucho lucimiento, y nosotros nos vamos a lucir esta tarde con unas carreras maravillosas que estamos todos disfrutando. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you very, very much. Say goodbye. Ahora regresamos a la torre de control.
Gracias, Josie. Jermaine Jackson, antes estrella del grupo de los Jacksons, Michael Jermaine, etcétera, etcétera, etcétera. Nosotros regresamos aquí a la pista donde estamos viendo su carro. Este es el que patrocina Jermaine Jackson, quien además cantó el himno nacional aquí antes de empezar la carrera, y que pues está batallando. No les puedo decir que vaya en los primeros lugares, pero está batallando, está luchando con todo Jan Lammers, y lo mismo hará Roberto Guerrero en cuanto tome el volante. 43 vueltas recorridas hasta el momento, y Al Holbert está en primer lugar, Hobbs en segundo con el 29, John Paul Jr. con el 45 en tercero, y aparentemente Bob Wollek en cuarto. No sé si castigaron más duro a Fittipaldi que a Bob Wollek.
We were just watching the number 84 car with Jan Lammers, and I swear he just passed, sitting dead in the water, number 45, John Paul Jr. John Paul Jr. is listed as high as third place, but may not be. Now we're focusing on the leader. That's the Porsche of Al Holbert, with Derek Bell waiting in the pit area, so tense to take a ride.
Al Holbert en el número 14 está ya muy próximo a entrar a la zona de pits para hacer un cambio de piloto. Mientras aquí en la pantalla tenemos a Richard Anderson.
I reckon the race is going exactly the way Al Holbert wanted it. He told me before, if only that time was as slow as 1:27, he was happy. Well, he slowed it down now to 1:30, 1:32 because of the yellows, because they're passing back markers and so on. Therefore, he's in the lead. All right, only just in the lead, but he's in the lead and he's happy. And Derek Bell's sitting there very cool, and he's got hopefully to take over halfway, and then they should be sitting fairly nicely placed for the latter half of the race.
Que la carrera va exactamente como Al Holbert quiere que vaya. Él planeaba hacer sus vueltas en aproximadamente 1:27, que es un paso bastante lento cuando John Paul Jr. está teniendo que salir de la pista. Evidentemente un problema mecánico con su automóvil, su Buick Mac 85G, que seguramente lo echará fuera de esta competencia. Ya había tenido problemas, estuvo encabezando la prueba allá muy al principio en la carrera, los primeros minutos, pero pues no han alcanzado sus problemas, y ahora aparentemente Quedará fuera John Paul, por ello es que hace rato vimos cómo lo rebasaba el número 84 y también allá con problemas en medio de la pista el binomio de Wayne Baker y Jack Newsom de California, pues con un auto igualmente averiado, probablemente después de un trompo.
Wayne Baker spinning right in the middle of the racetrack. Attrition beginning to get to some of them. Holbert trying to put a lap right there on the Jaguar. I don't know whether he did it.
No, I think you'll find the Jaguar is just to take him for the lead. By my reckoning, and it isn't official, I reckon the Jag is right behind Al Holbert and challenge him to try and take the lead. Now, it may not be so. I think you'll find there are only 10 yards separating these two cars after this race.
Aquí están batallando Al Holbert y el Jaguar, y claro, todas las esperanzas que estaban en los Jaguares pueden renacer, porque los Jaguares se llevaron esta carrera haciendo el 1-2 en 1984, y ahora que solamente queda uno en la pista, que es el 04 que está conduciendo Haywood, pues ahí está atrás persiguiendo denodadamente al líder, que es Al Holbert en este momento.
We've been picking up lap times on the leader in the region of a 1:27, a minute and 27 seconds. That translates to about 76, 77 miles an hour, which doesn't sound fast. But you've got to look at how tight some of these corners are. They're down to the point where they're only going 10, 15 miles an hour, looking for the lowest gear in the gearbox. Then they accelerate back up, as you see them now on the short chute, to speeds of 130. Then they get over onto the longer chute, and they're actually turning speeds more in the neighborhood of 160 miles an hour, but only for a brief point in time.
Ahí están en medio de mucho tráfico, con problemas para rebasar a los rezagados, los líderes de la competencia, encabezados por Al Holbert, y pegadito atrás de él el Jaguar de Haywood. Es un carro que tiene muchas ventajas en esta pista, el Jaguar, porque sale de las curvas con mucha velocidad y eso a veces le da ventaja. Claro que en las rectas no puede desarrollar tanto como los otros, pero como es una pista realmente sinuosa esta de Miami, con aproximadamente unas 16 curvas, aunque oficialmente solo tiene 12, pues de todas formas le conviene esta superficie al Jaguar.
Well, we're going to go down to the pit lane right now, where Chris has got another story for us. Chris?
Pretty much the same old story, Bruce. The organizer of the race here, Ralph Sanchez, was also the owner of the car that Emerson Fittipaldi, with whom he's talking now, is down here trying to see what can be done about helping out the situation. Ralph, can I interrupt for just a moment here? We're on live with SIN. What is the situation about putting the problem right here, the black flagging of your car?
I can't hear.
Will there be any rectification of that problem of your car being black flagged? Will they do something to put it right?
No, they don't want to do that. We just spoke to the tower. They say they're not willing to accept responsibility for it. Our position is I can't file a protest as the promoter, but my team is filing a protest, and Bob Wollek is also filing a protest, because they were waved by the pace car. When they passed the pace car, then that's when we got penalized.
Well, one of the officials said that the pace car man put his hand out to hold them back, and they mistook that for a wave. I wonder if they're aware of that.
Emerson Fittipaldi has been driving for 20 years. Bob Wollek has been world endurance champion. Has been driving in Europe for 15 years or so.
Okay, and another car, the next pit is in here. It's quite hectic down here in pit lane. Thank you very much, Ralph Sanchez. So as you can see, there's a lot of commotion down here. Action on the track and action in the pit. Back to you, Bruce.
All right, boy, and we're in one of the most interesting races now, as protests are flying and the race isn't even over yet.
Claro, Tracy Karamaki platicó con Ralph Sánchez, que es el promotor del evento, pero también es el dueño del carro 85 de Emerson Fittipaldi, que sufrió la bandera negra y la penalización. Entonces él dice que él como promotor no puede hacer una protesta oficial, pero que su equipo sí está haciendo una protesta oficial, y lo mismo está haciendo el carro número 8 de Bob Wollek y de AJ Foyt. Ahora, el razonamiento que esgrime Ralph Sánchez es, bueno, si los oficiales dicen que ellos trataron de detener a Fittipaldi y a Wollek, bueno, Fittipaldi es un tipo que lleva 20 años de experiencia, Wollek lleva 15, los dos han sido de los mejores pilotos del mundo durante muchos años. gente como esa no se confunde, tiene demasiada experiencia para eso. Yo creo que tienen mucho de razón.
I wish this next item would clear up some confusion, but instead we're going to make it even more confused. The battle that you see right now on your screen, that's Al Holbert out in front of it. Right behind him is the Jaguar. On our unofficial scoring sheet, we've got the Jaguar sitting in second, but they show the Jaguar is maybe clear down as low as fourth. We'll watch that one a little bit closer, but the Jaguar certainly not giving up any ground to Al Holbert at the moment.
He's really pushing Al, there's no two ways about it, but then again, I think probably Al's fairly happy like that, as long as the Jag doesn't pass him and get away. Both these cars, I think you'll find, will probably only do one stop, and both the cars are probably happy to go around this sort of speed, you know, racing but not pushing it too hard. You must remember one thing, no way can a miler run 100 yard speed for a mile. No way can these cars sprint all the laps they've got to do here for 3 hours.
Bueno, pues aquí está nuestro líder, Al Holbert, con el número 14. Y hay, desde luego, una discrepancia después de todas estas controversias con las posiciones. Según las posiciones que llevamos aquí en esta cabina de transmisiones, que son extraoficiales, desde luego el Jaguar está en segundo lugar. Según la torre de control está hasta el cuarto. Así que, pues tendremos que esperar para clarificar esa situación. El hecho es que siguen ahí corriendo 1-2, más o menos sin forzar demasiado sus máquinas. Ambos carros seguramente solamente harán una parada y por ello es que los quieren conservar.
The lead car is a Porsche 962 with a 3.8-liter turbocharged motor. If you really want to buy one, you can get on a 6-month waiting list, and as I understand it, it's about $275,000. Sterling, is that a bargain?
I think it's a bargain because they're a hell of a motor car, but interestingly, they're running a small turbocharger on this car because it isn't the power they're after, but they want the quickest response possible. And the big engine, which they're using in the lead car, hasn't quite got the response of the smaller one, but it has more power. So they've compromised, they've dropped the size of the turbocharger, which does less than the lap.
Esa es la parte fabricada de esta pista, una parte que no corresponde a las calles de la ciudad de Miami, y en cuanto salgan de ella cruzarán por las vías de tren y entrarán ya a lo que son las calles que normalmente los habitantes de esta ciudad de Miami usan todos los días para ir a sus trabajos o volver a sus hogares. Al Holbert está en primer lugar punteando este Gran Premio de Miami 1985. Nosotros haremos una pausa y volveremos después de estos mensajes. Estamos en vivo en el Gran Premio de Miami, en la transmisión bilingüe. Soy Jorge Berry a cargo del español. Conmigo están Bruce Flanders y Sterling Moss en los comentarios para los amigos de habla inglesa que siguen esta transmisión. Al Holbert es nuestro líder y estaba trenzado en una batalla con el Jaguar 04 que trae Hurley Haywood. Ahí está Haywood haciendo el movimiento por el lado de afuera y haciendo el rebase.
That was a look back at Hurley Haywood going around Al Holbert right there. And the question in our minds right now, here it is from a different angle. This is going to be the Jaguar on your left coming around the Porsche. The Porsche is still listed on the leaderboard, so either the Jaguar unlapped himself or quite possibly has taken over the lead. We'll watch and see.
Aquí está en la pantalla este Jaguar que acaba de rebasar al líder, a Al Holbert. Sin embargo, el Jaguar aparece en cuarto lugar, o sea que pues, posiblemente lo que hizo fue quitarse la vuelta y ahora estar a menos de una vuelta de distancia de liderazgo.
We've been in the streets right now for an hour and 20 minutes in the 3 hours that we're going to go total, and some of the scheduled pit stops are due to start here.
Sí, en poco tiempo empezará a haber muchas visitas a la zona de pit, sobre todo de pues todos aquellos autos que planean solamente hacer una parada, estarán dentro de poco entrando para recargar combustible, para cambiar llantas y también para cambiar de piloto, así que los otros pilotos están calentando motores para entrar en acción.
Let's take a chance right now. Go down to the pit area for another update from Chris Economaki.
I was just talking with Bob Tullius, the captain of the Jaguar team, and I asked him where the car was, and he waved at the scoring pole in disdain and said, "That's all wrong. We're in 5th place right now." Perhaps that helps you up there.
Okay, so the Jaguar, in their own mind, is sitting in the 5th place spot. At least now, he's back on the same lap with the leader.
Ahí está aclarándonos Chris Economaki lo que está pasando. El equipo Jaguar sabe que sí, que su posición es la quinta, están en quinto lugar, así que pues ya por lo menos están en la misma vuelta que el líder Al Holbert. Mientras tanto se están sucediendo los problemas en la pista y ahí está parcialmente bloqueada, una de las zonas construidas de la pista por uno de los autos, es el 01 de Don Bell y Tommy Riggins, que evidentemente ya no podrá regresar a la competencia.
And this may be a whole yellow flag all the way around the course, which would have made the move that the Jaguar just did one of the smartest things in racing.
Could have happened.
That would put him back on the same lap. If they bring out a pace car, it'll bunch it all up, and the Jags got a better shot. Uh-oh, the Lowenbrau car, excuse me, the Porsche just went back by the Jaguar right there and put him away again.
Bueno, pues ya se cambió de nuevo la posición y ahora Al Holbert volvió a rebasar al Jaguar. Y la situación es esta, que con la pista bloqueada pueden sacar una bandera amarilla. Si el Jaguar estuviera en la misma vuelta que el Porsche, entonces el Jaguar podría alcanzarlo con la bandera amarilla, pero puesto que se realizó de nuevo el cambio de posiciones, ahora no será posible, si es que sacan la amarilla, y que posiblemente la saquen porque está la pista ciertamente bloqueada en esa zona que acabamos de ver. Así que Al Holbert sigue encabezando el Gran Premio de Miami 1985. Ahí está Derek Bell ya preparándose para entrar.
Derek Bell standing by down there in the pit lane. That's a shot of him getting ready. So the switchover between he and Al Holbert will be happening soon. And apparently there is not going to be a full yellow flag. One has not come out yet.
I wouldn't mind betting you that Al Holbert's keeping the pressure on there, because I reckon he doesn't reckon that he's got that lap. I think he'd rather feel happier if he reckoned it was a straight fight and keep the pressure on.
Bueno, pues están ya esperando allá en la zona de pits la entrada del líder, Al Holbert, que está a punto de dejar la conducción de su bólido a Derek Bell, mientras ahí sigue la pista bloqueada, pero no ha hecho su aparición. La bandera amarilla, están dejando que continúe la carrera. No sé cómo van a sacar ese auto de ahí, aunque pues en la zona donde está el accidente sí se está quitando una bandera amarilla, no se ha colocado en toda la pista. Ahora sí, ahí sale ya el carro insignia y pues para fortuna de Al Holbert, el líder, todos están, si le lleva más de una vuelta al Jaguar.
We've gone yellow flag. Pace car is back out on the course. I'll bet nobody passes the pace car this time. And
I'll bet they all come into the pits at the same time too.
And we'll be bunching up. There is the reason for the yellow flag right there. Nobody got hurt. The car has. But we'll be a few minutes while we'll be cleaning that one up. And then we'll get back to this action with everybody tightened right back up again. Almost as if we were at Daytona for a NASCAR race.
Ahí con mucho cuidado David Hobbs con el carro insignia. Miren cómo se enfrena David Hobbs. Dice, yo no me meto en problemas, yo no rebaso nada a estas alturas porque el carro insignia está muy severo en esta carrera. Así que estamos en bandera amarilla. Mientras tanto nosotros haremos una pausa y regresamos a la acción del Gran Premio de Miami en un momento. Estamos de vuelta en el Gran Premio de Miami 1985. El carro insignia está en la pista y todos formados detrás de él con mucho cuidado. Al Holbert está encabezando la prueba con el carro número 14. En segundo lugar con el 29, David Hobbs. Luego Bob Wollek con el 8. Ronnie Haywood en el Jaguar 04. Y luego Kalagian con su número 15 en el quinto lugar.
Back live at the Grand Prix of Miami, and we are under a yellow flag condition, the second yellow flag of the day. Things are tightening back up. There's a lot of interesting activity. Derek Bell sitting there waiting for his car to come in. And Sterling, you just mentioned that when we went yellow, you expected the leader to dive into the pit area.
You better believe it. I thought they both would. I am surprised. I can't realize why they haven't. I can only presume it is absolutely essential that they should do half distance on the fuel and tires, and that even 10 minutes is too short, but I find that I don't understand.
Sí, la sorpresa es que aquí bajo la bandera amarilla el líder Al Holbert no ha hecho su visita programada para los pits porque pues, es el momento perfecto. Aquí no perdería nada de posición y sin embargo ha decidido seguir tras el carro insignia y no hacer su parada. Mientras tanto, pues Derek Bell sigue preparándose, lo mismo que todo el crew de mecánicos. Están esperando la visita del Porsche. Ahora la única explicación posible es que tiene que recorrer exactamente la mitad de la prueba en ese Porsche y no antes, pero pues es un poco difícil de creer eso.
All right, Right, well, they are slowly crawling around the track, and we once again might have a pit stop.
Yeah, but there's one thing I think we want to understand, and that is when the yellow's out, you can't pass the lead car. In fact, you cannot pass any car in front of you unless there's something wrong with it. Therefore, if you go in the pits, you do lose as much time as you do, but you can catch right up to the bunch that you can get to. In other words, it doesn't mean you've got to stop and go at the same slow speed as the leader. You can go all the way around the circuit until you meet a slow-moving car in front. Then you cannot pass that car. That's what the yellow flag. There they go. Yes.
Leader into the pit area right there.
But not the second.
No, a couple more though have gone in, including our camera car going on board. There you're seeing the driver change happening right now. Derek Bell opens the driver. They try to clean the windshield. Holbert comes out of the car and Bell's climbing in.
Aquí está el cambio de piloto del carro líder. Al Holbert está saliendo y Derek Bell está colocándose en la posición de pilotear. Están también reabasteciéndolo de combustible. Varios autos están en la zona de pits y vean cómo trabajan los cruz mecánicos a toda velocidad para sacarlo a la brevedad posible a la pista, que está también ayudando en todo lo posible. Al Holbert, quien se acaba de bajar del auto, le está diciendo a Derek Bell algo sobre las condiciones de la pista, cambio de llantas, todo a gran velocidad, y en unos instantes más, aunque parezca increíble, estará de nuevo en competencia el líder, el carro número 14 de Al Holbert.
I don't know if it's exactly according to Al Holbert's plan, but we are 1 hour and 30 minutes almost exactly right now in a 3-hour race. He's got fresh tires on all 4 corners, and it looks like Chris Economaki is down there somewhere. We might be able to go down to the pit lane and talk to Holbert. We'll see in just a few minutes. Once again, for those of you just tuning us in, we are live at the 3rd annual Grand Prix of Miami and doing it bilingually on SIN.
And under a yellow flag at the moment.
Estamos bajo bandera amarilla cuando ven esta toma panorámica de nuestro dirigible, y el carro insignia es el que va adelante. Tras él el Jaguar 04 de Hurley Haywood. También es una sorpresa que no haya entrado a hacer su visita programada a los pits. Es otro de los carros que solamente parará una vez, claro, si es que todo va bien, porque si no aprovecharán todo para poder hacer una segunda parada. Pero Holbert, el líder, pues él sí lo hizo, y ya hay nuevo piloto ahí. Derek Bell está en la pista con el Porsche 926 número 14, está todavía encabezando esta competencia. Ahora, una característica en los 2 días de competencia aquí en el Gran Premio de Miami es que se han tardado bastante en limpiar la pista. Vamos ahora al pit con Chris Economaki.
Let's go down once again. Chris Economaki, what's up?
Well, you had a great drive and a nice pit stop. Had a good drive and a nice stop, but you don't look happy.
No, Chris, we did it a lap late. I mean, we always get caught. You know, we could just barely squeak halfway. And that's where we were, but you should pit on the first lap, you know, if you're the leader, to take advantage. Now, Hobbs, he was smart, but he's got the margin, we don't.
Well, you know, we wondered why you didn't stop. Why didn't you come in a lap earlier?
Well, I was trying to make sure everybody was ready. I was trying to get some good advice because I didn't know how close we were to halfway. And I was left with a decision, and I blew it.
Is it that close that 1 lap under the yellow can make a difference on running out of fuel, Al?
Well, you got to start somewhere. That was our game plan. So we wanted to go halfway. So, you know, when you start fluctuating from game plan, you start taking chances. Obviously, you have to be ready to, but this was so close, I decided to stay with the game plan.
How's the car handling and everything all right?
I've never driven on a slipperier racetrack.
Slippery, huh?
All the macadam in the corners is going away, and if you get an inch off a line, you're history.
Okay, Al Holbert with a report on the track. Back to you, Bruce.
Boy, and it gives us a good idea of what's going on. He's a tired-looking young man, too.
Al Holbert se ve cansado. Dice que está muy resbalosa la superficie de la pista y que eso le provocó muchos problemas. También un poco molesto porque dice que era responsabilidad de él el hacer la parada de pits en el momento en que salió la bandera amarilla y no aprovechó esa oportunidad. En cambio, Hobbs, que está en segundo lugar y que está persiguiéndolo y cerca, además, sí aprovechó esa oportunidad. Claro, dice Holbert, Hobbs tiene más margen con su automóvil, yo no, pero de cualquier forma fue una mala decisión la que tomé. Ya parece que ha quedado limpia la pista y en unos momentos más estaremos reiniciando la prueba.
Well, for those of you that have been following us for the first hour and a half of this event, you'll be intrigued by this next twist of fate. The new leaderboard just got set up, and who's back in front? A.J. Foyt and Bob Wollek, even after all of those hassles.
That is staggering, actually, isn't it? It really is staggering. But it just shows you a race isn't finished until you see the checkered flag. All right, they've still got half the race to go, but it sure puts an interesting turn on it. Although I believe, Frank, that Derek Bell will probably be charging fairly soon as they put out the yellow flag, the green flag.
Bueno, pues dadas las visitas a los pits, ya vieron ustedes ya las posiciones. Derek Bell, al regresar a la pista, ha ocupado el tercer lugar detrás de Wollek y Hobbs. pero en cuanto se reinicie la competencia estará presionando para recobrar el primer sitio. Él tiene la ventaja de que él ya estuvo en pits y los demás pues, tendrán que hacerlo todavía. Así que la pista ya quedó limpia, el carro insignia seguramente en la siguiente vuelta abandonará el circuito y entonces estaremos compitiendo de nuevo. Aquí viene el carro insignia y ahora sí lo rebasaron. Finalmente se dejó rebasar el carro insignia y estamos de nuevo corriendo.
We're back green. We're racing again beyond the halfway point. It's still showing number 8 Bob Wollek and A.J. Foyt in front of it. The car that is actually in front of that whole pack is supposedly down a lap. That would be the Jaguar. We'll watch it. We'll keep you as up to date as possible. Derek Bell is got one spinning right in front of us. John Kalagian, who was up as high as 5th place on the board, goes around right in front of our announcing booth at the entrance to the pit area. He's apparently okay and didn't hurt anything. Didn't hurt anything, and he's gone.
Ya va de nuevo John Kalagian. Qué trompo hizo y exactamente aquí enfrente del palco de transmisiones. Hasta nos llevamos un suspiro porque sí, la pared de cemento está grande, está dura, está resistente, pero uno nunca sabe cuando se patinan exactamente enfrente del palco. La precaución visita los ojos de estos sus amigos, los comentaristas.
Somebody as smart as Al Holbert tells you can only get 1 inch off the line and you're in trouble. He's probably right, Stoker.
You better believe it. Well, we saw that then, didn't we? I mean, it doesn't show on to us. Even sitting here, you can't see the breaking up. He's in the corner. It's enormous, sort of 600 or 800 horsepower, hitting the floor with these tyres which give enormous adhesion, something like 2G accelerated adhesion, which is twice, 3, 4, 5 times an ordinary car. That, of course, will upset anything, and that's apparently what's happening in the corners. When it breaks up, then it spreads, and you get this very small gravel on the top, and that is terrible.
Otro trompo, este lo sufrió Bob Aiken, ya lo vieron recuperarse y de nuevo entrar a la competencia. Es que se suceden uno a otro los trompos porque la tracción de esos 800 caballos de fuerza que tienen las máquinas es tremenda y en esas curvas cerradas, en el momento que salen de la curva aplicando esa fuerza, pues es fácil perder la línea recta y tirarse un trompo como les ha ocurrido a muchos, pero muchos competidores esta tarde.
Well, they're back at speed, and they're trying to sort each other out right now, and Derek Bell in the number 14 Porsche is definitely going well.
En este momento Bob Wollek encabeza la prueba. Nosotros vamos a hacer una pausa y regresamos en un momento más al Gran Premio de Miami.
Presentado a ustedes por cortesía de Ford Motor Company y por Eastern Airlines, las alas de América.
Regresamos a este hermoso panorama, a encontrarnos aquí con el líder del Gran Premio de Miami 1985, conduciendo el carro número 8 en este momento, A.J. Foyt, el Porsche 962 que lleva adentro a la leyenda, el hombre que más veces ha ganado Indianápolis en la historia, 4 victorias que nunca nadie ha igualado.
Out of Texas comes the guy called A.J. Foyt. He's a legend in racing here in the United States. He's just come off of some great runs this year. Finished first with his co-driver Bob Wollek in the 24 Hours of Daytona. It's listing it as Wollek, but we know behind the wheel at the moment is the big Texan A.J. Foyt.
Sí, Bob Wollek empezó la carrera conduciendo este auto, hizo una visita a pits ahí cuando se armó la controversia de que si los castigaban o no los castigaban. Emerson Fittipaldi furioso. El caso es que ahora el reporte oficial de la torre de control tiene en primer lugar a este carro número 8, que ahora es conducido por A.J. Foyt, el hombre que tomó los controles luego que Wollek salió del auto a alegar su causa para que no lo castigaran y aparentemente pues no lo castigaron.
Quite strongly at the moment as we have strung out just a little bit. There's been several retirements from the original 37 cars that took the green flag in this event. We've approximately got 29 of them still out on the racetrack. We folded a few of them though, and it looks as though if the track gets a little slippery or Sterling might have a few more off of these walls.
Yeah, I think though now they're beginning to find out where it is slippery, although of course we get loose stones that does move around a bit. But at the moment, AJ's got, I reckon, about 14 seconds lead on David Hobbs. That's the way I see it at the moment. They're lapping again still reasonably slowly because the track is bad at about 128.6. Therefore, one wouldn't expect to have another fuel stop even if there aren't too many yellow flags in this session. Therefore, it's a race down really to the finish now, quite a long way and very, very difficult roads, but I don't think we'll find any more scheduled pit stops anyway.
Vamos más allá de la mitad, poquito más allá de la mitad de este tercer Gran Premio de Miami en la categoría GT Gran Turismo prototipo. Esta es la reina de las pruebas aquí en este fin de semana automovilístico en la ciudad de Miami, que tiene a pues más de 80,000 espectadores reunidos en esta pista que recorre las calles de Miami, felices viendo las carreras de autos de todas las edades, de todos los tamaños, de muchísimas nacionalidades están reunidos aquí en Miami, de todos los niveles sociales, en fin, una verdadera fiesta en esta ciudad.
That batch of cars that we're watching right now out onto the racetrack includes David Hobbs in the red, number 29. Along with him, it's got Emerson Fittipaldi, and also, suddenly, right back up on their tail comes number 14, Derek Bell, wants to take it all back away from him.
Pues Derek Bell, que ahora está conduciendo el carro 14 y que fue líder durante muchas vueltas, tiene la ventaja de que acaba de hacer su parada en pits, no volverá ya o no tiene programada ya otra parada y no le queda sino apretar el paso y rebasar a los que tiene enfrente para retomar el liderato, y es lo que está intentando hacer ahora Derek Bell. Está ahí pegado ya a Hobbs y en unos segundos más intentará hacer el rebase. No le sorprenda a usted que aquí mismo lo podamos ver.
Another wonder of wonders has suddenly happened too as we check scoring. Emerson Fittipaldi is being shown back up into the 5th position. Now that's not bad for a guy who supposedly had a 2-lap penalty. Well, it'll all be an interesting one before it's over. There's the good battle. Number 29 right there is shown in the 2nd place spot. That's David Hobbs. Right on his tail is Derek Bell, back up to 3rd and about to take over 2nd. They're on the fast part of the straightaway now.
Allá viene Derek Bell pegado a David Hobbs y tratando de tomar el segundo lugar. Allá está haciendo el rebase por el lado exterior y aquí al tomar la curva está ya en segundo lugar Derek Bell completando el rebase sobre David Hobbs. Bonita maniobra de Bell.
Now out onto the manufactured portion. Sterling?
Well, I was speaking to Derek, not here, but another race back. He said to me, these Porsches are fantastic. He said, now, even in the 24-hour race, you can drive the car as hard as you physically can, providing you respect the equipment. You drive them flat out. You corner them hard, brake them hard, accelerate them hard, and the model car will take the straight, which is fantastic.
Es un carro que aguanta mucho, según nos platica Sterling Moss. Este Porsche de Derek Bell, que acaba de tomar el segundo lugar, aguanta mucho, se puede manejar con mucha fuerza, extendiendo al máximo el carro y claro, eso siempre ayuda. Mientras David Hobbs, aquí lo ven en el 29, se ha retrasado ahora al 3er lugar y veremos qué puede hacer. Ya está abriendo más ventaja Derek Bell sobre Hobbs, así que pues será difícil que lo alcance.
By the way, partnering with David Hobbs in that red number 29 is Darren Brassfield, a young charger from California who's getting his feet wet in GTV racing. He's done real well out on the SCCA Trans Am circuit this last year. Whether it's Brassfield or Hobbs behind the wheel at the moment, we're not sure, but number 29 keeping the heat on the Porsche, not letting it go too far away.
Ahora en la clasificación oficial que nos mandan desde la torre de anotaciones está el número 85 conducido a estas alturas por Tony Garcia, y pues si es que vuelve a hacer una parada en pits, tal vez veamos de nuevo a Emerson Fittipaldi, a ver si el coraje que le aplicó al oficial lo aplica en la pista para volver a pelear con los líderes.
Emerson Fittipaldi is in the pit area himself. The car out there is Tony Garcia, a local businessman and a pretty darn good race car driver on his own right. Out there in the car now. We would expect if the car has even a half a chance that the last 45 minutes or so, they'll probably put Fittipaldi back behind the wheel.
I would have thought they might have brought him in even earlier than that. Unless they're expecting a last-minute refueling or anything like that, then I suppose they wouldn't stop it early. They'd bring him in and do it.
Derek Bell todavía no se puede sacudir a David Hobbs, quien lo está persiguiendo denodadamente y está pegado a él, no lo deja escapar. En segundo lugar a estas alturas de la competencia, Derek Bell.
You're looking at the 2nd place car, Derek Bell. He's got the assignment now to drive that car for the latter half of the race and bring it home, and it looks like that they split the driving chores right down the middle, Sterling, and brought it in right on their schedule.
Well, you've got two very evenly balanced drivers.
Claro, Al Holbert cuando se bajó del carro realmente se veía cansado. Nosotros vamos a hacer una pausa y en un momento regresamos a la emoción del automovilismo en el Gran Premio de Miami. Esta es la panorámica del Gran Premio de Miami 1985 y allá a lo lejos puede usted ver a nuestro dirigible Goodyear, desde donde se hacen estas maravillosas tomas para que usted disfrute de la panorámica desde las alturas con un nuevo sistema de cámaras que ha perfeccionado nuestro ingeniero Bob Porter y que funcionan a las mil maravillas desde allá para seguir el curso de la carrera.
That was a shot of the Goodyear Blimp Enterprise out of Pompano Beach, Florida. The pilot, Captain Don Klosknak from Randolph, Ohio. The Enterprise giving us some great shots from high up over Miami. You're looking at what is our camera car. If the camera's still working, the car apparently is. That's number 67, and that should be Rick Nuke behind the wheel. Busby started in it, also a Porsche in the 962 variety. Our leader is Bob Wollek. Actually, it's A.J. Foyt. A.J. Foyt is in front of it, and they tell me that the camera car itself, I was identifying the wrong one, the camera car itself has broken and is no longer in the event. Wollek is in front, Bell is in second, his Porsche is a pair. Then you go to a Chevrolet-powered March sitting in third with David Hobbs and Darren Brassfield, then the Jaguar in fourth.
Bueno, pues parece que están llamando a los pits a A.J. Foyt, es el líder de la competencia hasta el momento en el carro número 8. Ahí va a haber un cambio de pilotos y seguramente dinamita, porque no creo que Foyt esté consciente de toda la controversia que rodeó la primera parte de esta carrera, cuando el problema con el carro insignia de Emerson Fittipaldi y su compañero de equipo Bob Wollek. Así que en la visita de Foyt, pues seguramente escucharemos sus comentarios. Vamos ahora a la zona de pits.
That's Bob Wollek standing there, getting ready to go. That would mean that A.J. Foyt is due in, and we've got a car spun. Well, if there's something wrong with the car, we might have to go yellow again. We've got an individual yellow flag in the corner, and the leader expected into the pit area. You're live in Miami, and that car will get out of the way, so we won't go to a full yellow.
Y eso estuvo a punto de ayudarle muchísimo al carro número 8 de Bob Wollek. Aquí están las posiciones. A.J. Foyt con el número 8. Y si hubiera habido bandera amarilla, créanme que lo hubiera aprovechado más rápido que nada. En el segundo lugar, Derek Bell en el 14. Hobbs en el tercero. Y en el cuarto, el Jaguar de Haywood. Son los que están todavía peleando en este Gran Premio de Miami 1985.
There's a shot in the back car, the number 29 car, David Hobbs. He's now sitting in the third place spot, probably, as we pointed out, Brassfield behind the wheel of it at the moment. Hobbo might be going back into it in a little while. But Wollek now sitting by Edgy, waiting to see if AJ's going to come in and make a quick flop over and let him back behind the wheel.
Habrá que ver, porque A.J. Foyt está viendo cada vez que cruza la meta que la pizarra dice número 8 en primer lugar. Él sabe que él trae el 8 y es virtualmente impasable cuando tiene liderato A.J. Foyt. Sin embargo, desde su zona de pits están poniéndole el aviso de que entre, así que seguramente lo veremos hacer la parada y el cambio de piloto en unos momentos.
Our number 04 Jaguar, Burley Haywood, is in the pit area. It is listed on the leaderboard in fourth spot, but they're coming in for what is probably an unscheduled pit stop.
Así que posiblemente problemas con el Jaguar. Está deteniéndose en los pits el Jaguar número 04 de Burley Haywood y no estaba programada esa parada, así que tal vez tenga algún tipo de problema el Jaguar. Lo averiguaremos en unos momentos.
Where's Bell?
Sterling's got his stopwatch going and he's wondering where Derek Bell is. He's supposed to have come by here, right?
Yes, Bob Wollek was slower that lap on the 1:33.6, which is quite a slow lap, but by my reckoning, the next car to him 10 seconds behind was David Hobbs. I haven't seen, I don't think I saw Derek Bell.
I think you missed him. I think I saw him.
I hope you're right. You may be right.
3 hours is a long time, not only behind the wheel, but in the announcing booth.
That's true.
Aquí estamos viendo a Tony Garcia en el número 85, el carro que empezó conduciendo Emerson Fittipaldi en este Gran Premio de Miami, que ha sido el centro de la controversia hasta el momento con esa bandera negra que le aplicaron y que ha provocado una protesta oficial por parte del equipo de Ralph Sánchez. Y bueno, pues hay un cambio de líder y aquí lo vamos a ver. Miren a Derek Bell haciendo el rebase en este momento sobre A.J. Foyt y tomando de nuevo el comando del Gran Premio de Miami 1985. Ahí lo tienen.
That's how come we missed him on the last time by. We expected Bell to be behind A.J. Foyt. Instead, he was in front of him when he came by, which means that he's back out into the lead. So Derek Bell running that Porsche like it was a Swiss watch.
Y aquí regresamos con Tony García, que está conduciendo el espíritu de Miami, el número 85, que tanto todavía dará que hablar cuando se escriba la historia de esta carrera. Ya va Foyt a la zona de pits, está entrando en este momento.
A.J. Foyt coming into the pits for that driver changeover that we figured would happen, and a lot of tire smoke right there. A lot of tire smoke, and apparently everybody got through that corner okay. Let's go. There it is, down into the pit lane, as you see the stop by the car that is now listed in second place. Let's go down where Chris Economaki's right there.
Hey, Bob Wollek is talking to Foyt, but Foyt looks like he's going to stay in the car. They're getting fuel. They're changing the left front tire from where we can stand. Foyt is dripping with perspiration. He's calling for water here. He looks like he's soaking wet. Coroner Jim Gilmore, Foyt's sponsor, says the engine isn't quite 100%. Oh, now I'll say the bodywork is coming off the back. That means that there's engine problems for sure. That's a long time. This is killing any chance this car may have of winning. In fact, Foyt is getting out of the car now. We'll try and get a word with him. Yeah, we wonder whether this is perhaps the end of the day for this machine or not. Wollek is about ready to get in. He's going to have to tighten up the seatbelts here. There's quite a difference in the size of these men. Wollek being a slight small man, and Foyt being big in just about every direction. And then, yeah, they're working on the turbocharger unit there. Red hot. One of the Andile mechanics, Alwyn Springer. And that's, of course, the pump that gives the engine so much horsepower. And they're pulling the flange off it. And to check the impellers, Foyt gets back there to take a look himself. And look at, he says it's out. Let me see if I can't get a word with him there. Find out precisely what's happening here.
Meanwhile, number 29, David Hobbs, has taken over the second place spot.
Vieron ustedes los problemas de AJ Foyt allá en los pits, y Chris Economaki nos describió lo que estaba ocurriendo, posiblemente el final de la carrera para el auto, problemas con el motor, le tuvieron que quitar el chasis para ver qué estaba pasando, así que tal vez ahí haya terminado la historia. Pero vamos a regresar a los pits con Chris Economaki.
Let's go back down to the pit area now. Chris?
AJ, we missed what you said before. What's the trouble?
It's the supercharger on it. We kept losing power, and I stayed out as long as we could, and finally I lost all the power.
Can they fix it?
I don't think so. That's the reason I told Bob if he wanted to ride, I think we'll have to push through.
Okay, that's too bad. AJ, how about the racetrack? I understand it's pretty slippery.
Well, it was good. You know, we got penalized in back. We come all the way from last first, so we're running pretty good.
Okay, thanks very much, AJ Foyt. And Wollek is going back out in the car with that deficiently supercharged engine. Back to you, Bruce.
I love it. AJ figures it's the same racetrack for everybody, and he did put on a drive.
Problemas con el supercargador, dice AJ Foyt, terminó sin ningún poder, pero pues parece que lo han ahí medio arreglado y ahora de nuevo saldrá a la pista conducido esta vez por Bob Wollek. Pero dice que el carro que andaba bien, que con todo y el castigo habían regresado al primer lugar, pero que pues perdió mucho poder y entonces lo alcanzó a rebasar Derek Bell. Derek Bell está en primer lugar del Gran Premio de Miami 1985 con su número 14, David Hobbs atrás de él. Nosotros haremos una pausa y en unos momentos más regresamos al Gran Premio de Miami. Gracias, Josie. Josie ahí departiendo con las estrellas en los eventos que rodean a este Gran Premio de Miami. Aquí pueden ver las señas con mucha aprensión que están haciendo algunos de los mecánicos. La bandera amarilla está afuera porque, como ven allá al fondo de su pantalla, estaban empujando uno de los carros. Aquí estamos de nuevo con el líder, número 14, conducido por Derek Bell, y seguramente que si no hay otra parada y no hay ninguna programada para el 14, él será Derek Bell será quien lleve el auto hasta el final de la carrera.
That car, the one that is out in front, number 14, Derek Bell, in the 24 hours of Daytona. That particular car led 19 out of the 24 hours, but didn't win the race, finished second. It's Bell out in front of it, Hobbs in the second place spot. Fittipaldi, actually Garcia, I think, behind the wheel at the moment, is sitting in the third place spot. We're rolling right along. We are almost exactly, in fact, let me hang on to it for just a couple more seconds. Yeah, we are now 2 hours into the 3-hour race. And if the last 1/3 of it is anywhere near as interesting as the first 2/3 were, stick with us. We're live on SIN in Miami.
2/3 partes del Gran Premio de Miami 85 ya se fueron. Y pues Derek Bell mantiene una ventaja que cada vez se vuelve más tranquila y en el primer lugar. El carro de David Hobbs, el 29, está en segundo. En tercero está el 85, que ahora conduce Tony Garcia, pero está 2 vueltas detrás de los líderes, así que necesitaría pasar una verdadera tragedia a los líderes para que tuviera alguna oportunidad Tony Garcia o Emerson Fittipaldi si es que vuelve al volante del carro.
At the moment, the number 14 car is in front of it by about 16 seconds. You're watching a little go right there between Randy Lanier and number 85, Tony Garcia, as they nearly scraped each other's paint jobs off.
Y sí, pues hay un poco de pique personal entre Tony Garcia, que intenta rebasar a Randy Lanier y no ha podido, y hubo un cerrón ahí bastante fuerte, pero pues sigue Tony Garcia persiguiéndolo y tratando de hacer el rebase.
The cars, Sterling, that were scheduled to make 2 pit stops, they're the ones that are probably due up next to make another driver change, right?
I would think so, yeah, because even though the race is being rather slower than many people expected, I think they had to make it with quite a big margin, so I think they would have to be in there.
Bob Wollek has gotten back out there. The car that Foyt figured was done for the day is back out onto the race course. Whether or not they're making all their horsepower or not, we don't know, but we'll try and watch them. The leaderboard still actually shows them in the 4th position at the moment, and we'll try and get a verification of that.
El carro que hace unos minutos encabezaba la prueba y lo traía AJ Foyt. Está en la pista de nuevo, ahora conocido por Bob Wollek, pero se lleva más de 2 vueltas atrás y con pocas probabilidades porque su turbocargador está fallando con bastante evidencia. Derek Bell continúa encabezando la prueba y mientras allá Tony Garcia batallando mucho con los rezagados, no ha podido todavía rebasar a Randy Lanier y aparentemente tampoco a Wayne Baker, que está también ahí ya peleándole, así que pues veremos cómo le va en esta batalla personal a Tony Garcia, que parece ser está perdiendo un poco de terreno contra ellos.
Down that front fast straightaway, which is actually Biscayne Boulevard. If you've ever been to the city of Miami, we closed down the streets at 7 o'clock in the evening on Friday. The last of the concrete barriers and chain link fencing goes into place, and from Friday night until about 4 hours from now, this part of the city is closed down and becomes a racetrack with thousands of people here. They estimated yesterday's crowd at 50,000 people, and Sterling, it looks like there's more of them here today. As we go down, it looks like the pits are active again. Bob Wollek is back in, and maybe there are more problems with the Wollek Foyt car.
Sí, con toda probabilidad está ya de nuevo en la zona de pits el auto de Bob Wollek y AJ Foyt. En muy poco tiempo han tenido que visitar 2 veces los pits, y el que está también perdiendo considerablemente terreno es el 85, el espíritu de Miami, que tienen en la pantalla de Tony Garcia. Ya descendió hasta el 5º lugar y claro, ahora con Wollek detenido ascenderá a 4º, pero tampoco parece estar muy bien. Ahí está, sin embargo, trenzado en la batalla con el líder de la competencia hasta el momento, con Derek Bell, pero claro, Bell está manejando conservador, sabe que le lleva 2 vueltas, entonces si lo pasa una vez, pues la verdad no importa.
One more pass and Derek Bell will put a lap on the 4th place car. Number 85 right there, Tony Garcia behind the wheel. They're sitting 4th. Right behind him, the leader, wanting to put one more lap to put him away, Sterling.
Yeah, he's really seems to be really pulling it out. He's lapping now at 1:26.7. This is the fastest time of the race at the moment. In other words, the yellow flag's not out, and he is definitely increasing the speed of it. I don't know why. Maybe he feels happy at that pace because he's still going quite a lot slower than he was in practice. And of course, there's David Hobbs, who's 32 seconds behind him. 32 seconds is a winning lead as long as nothing goes wrong. So I think he'll probably be happy at that.
Otra vuelta más le han sacado ya al espíritu de Miami. Está rebasándolo de nuevo Derek Bell, y las esperanzas de Tony Garcia y de Emerson Fittipaldi cada vez son menos y van decreciendo. El único tal vez con alguna oportunidad de alcanzar a Derek Bell es David Hobbs, pero va 32 segundos atrás. Es un margen con el que debe sentirse muy tranquilo Derek Bell. 32 segundos es bastante. Mientras no vaya nada mal con el carro, seguramente eso le podrá dar la victoria.
The next car that'll probably fall victim to Derek Bell is number 1, and that is Randy Lanier and Bill Whittington. Then that number 1 was a very hard-earned one. 17 stops. Whoops, we got a car around right there. Looks like the number 5 car, Bob Aiken, and it's another Porsche 962 trying to do a double cut and reverse his position on the racetrack and get back underway. But Lanier, the part I was alluding to, the IMSA champion last year after their 17-race series, and he well deserved that title and the money that went with it.
Qué maniobra más peligrosa hizo aquí en la pantalla. Ustedes pudieron ver Bob Aiken ahí en su número 5. Tiró la reversa y se arrancó de nuevo sin importarle lo que venía detrás. Y allá hay otro trompo. El líder Derek Bell sufre un trompo, y esto sí que le puede costar caro. Es la segunda vez que le pasa a este auto.
Yeah, number 14 part of the spin right there. Apparently no damage.
Este otro vistazo al trompo del líder.
And look to me, did you not think that other car might have pulled across him a bit and he had to put more brakes on than he'd been expecting, maybe?
I think every one of those drivers must be a Catholic, because that looked like a miracle happening right there.
That was right in the middle of traffic.
Another angle. Here it is from above, from the blimp, and we got most of it.
Nice driving, though, by a lot of those people, I reckon. Nice driving.
Qué suerte tuvo que Tony Garcia, en el espíritu de Miami, no se le estrellara atrás en el momento que hizo el trompo, totalmente inesperado para el conductor que viene atrás. Sin embargo, milagrosamente no hubo roces y aquí continúa Derek Bell con...
Apparently he does look okay, but it looks like it's a dead engine right there.
Muchos trompos a estas alturas. Giampiero Moretti ahí en el 30 sufrió otro. Aquí está Derek Bell, el líder de la competencia. Nosotros hacemos una pausa y en un momento estamos de vuelta en el Gran Premio de Miami. En vivo, la cadena SIN transmitiendo el Gran Premio de Miami 1985. Soy Jorge Berry en el comentario de español y para los amigos de habla inglesa, Bruce Flanders y Sterling Moss. En este hermoso día lleno de sol, lleno de alegría, lleno de contento para todos los aficionados que en gran número, más de 80,000 para darles una idea, se han dado cita en el corazón de la ciudad de Miami, en la pista que está instalada en las calles del centro de la ciudad para ver a los bólidos llenos de velocidad competir por la gloria y por el dinero en este tercer Gran Premio de Miami, que hasta el momento va encabezando el carro número 14, conducido ahora por Derek Bell, un Porsche 962 con una bastante buena ventaja en el primer lugar.
It's the third annual Grand Prix of Miami, and SIN is bringing you every moment of it. I'm Bruce Flanders, that was Jorge Berry you were just listening to, and with us is Sterling Moss. And Sterling, you were telling me that there's a chance we might have a heck of a race for second place.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a long way from over yet, Bruce, because I can tell you the Jaguar is coming through. He is catching up, not that fast, but he is catching up on Hobbs. Hobbs, in turn, is holding station about just over half a minute behind Derek Bell. When Derek Bell spun, you may remember, you saw that he only lost 2.1 seconds, which isn't bad to be able to spin and not bang it up or anything else. So it's still a very open race. We've got nearly an hour to go, and to take off 30 seconds in that much time is not impossible.
Ahora no le hizo nada a Derek Bell, el trompo que sufrió está de nuevo alcanzando el espíritu de Miami para sacarle otra vuelta. Aquí están las posiciones: Bell en primer lugar, Hobbs en segundo, Tony Garcia conduciendo ahora el auto que comparte con Emerson Fittipaldi en tercer lugar, Haywood en cuarto y Kalagian en quinto. Así que esas son las posiciones y sigue la acción aquí en Miami.
We're watching the number 85 car, which is Tony Garcia, and right behind him is number 14. That is our leader, Derek Bell. Bell trying to put a lap on Garcia. Last time he tried it, it didn't work out so well.
Hace poco le sacó una vuelta a Derek Bell a Tony Garcia, lo rebasó y poco después sufrió el trompo y eso le dio oportunidad entonces a Garcia de volver a quitarse esa vuelta. Pero aquí viene Bell intentándolo hacer de nuevo y probablemente lo consiga.
The car does not have another scheduled pit stop. The lead car still could end up in the pits. As Will pointed out, we're 2 hours and 12 minutes into the 3-hour Grand Prix of Miami, and there's still a lot can happen, as Sterling was pointing out. They tell me that Fittipaldi is now back in the car instead of Tony Garcia.
Parece que Emerson Fittipaldi está de nuevo manejando el espíritu de Miami al 85, que tiene usted ahí en la pantalla, y a quien persigue Derek Bell de nuevo y con fuerza también. Estamos viendo al 84, lo vimos aparecer brevemente en la pantalla que patrocina Jermaine Jackson, una de las estrellas que entrevistó Josie Mejía en el curso de la fiesta que se desarrolla alrededor de este Gran Premio de Miami.
The number 85 car is obviously taking a little bump somewhere along the line as the left front on the nose is about ready to come off. The fiberglass, it isn't really, the aerodynamics won't be affected a lot on this track, will they, sir?
No, they won't matter that much. I mean, obviously at the high speed they do come into a little bit, but it won't matter that much. It's much more they might have to make a pit stop for something else falling off or breaking away and being black flagged. That is the worst thing about a part of the body being hit on a place like this.
Ya ven a Derek Bell pegado a Emerson Fittipaldi tratando de sacarle la vuelta. y no es fácil. Créame usted que con la experiencia que tiene un Emerson Fittipaldi, un tipo que pues ha venido de más a menos en cuanto a categoría, porque él era legendario allá en la Fórmula 1, donde ganó campeonatos mundiales, y pues ahora aquí lo tiene usted en estos prototipos, haciendo una nueva incursión dentro de su carrera automovilística. Pero son 20 años de experiencia piloteando autos de carreras, y créanme ustedes que esa no se dice rápido y se hace rápido. Lleva muchos años y mucha dedicación en hacerlo. Ahí está Emerson, el brasileño volador, y ahí está Derek Bell persiguiendo.
Let's take an opportunity right here to point out one more time that this is the richest race on the IMSA circuit. It's a $50,000 win and a $25,000 second place. So they're going for some dollars out there right now.
Y como dice Bruce, esta es la carrera más cara en todo el circuito IMSA, y eso que contiene muchas carreras de larga duración, como 24 horas de Daytona, 12 horas de Sebring, etc. Y en esta, que solamente son 3 horas, pues se disputa el premio más alto en dinero, $50,000 al primer lugar, $25,000 al segundo lugar, y eso es... Esas son cantidades realmente grandes.
You know, they take these particular IMSA cars, the GT prototypes, and they, whoops, that's the leader once again spinning. A second time, and those soft tires might flat.
Darren are doing exceedingly well today. Will you be able to pick up any ground on that leading car?
I don't think so, Chris. He's a little bit quicker than we are, and he's actually just pulling away very slightly. But I would like to put it on public record that only Derek Bell could spin here in Miami and not damage the car.
Well, that's really being lucky, isn't it? How about David Hobbs and the knee you injured skiing? Did it bother you today?
No, it didn't, actually. My left foot started to go numb about halfway through my stint. So I did a long stint because we came in on a caution and put more fuel in. So I ended up doing just close to 2 hours, so the foot started to go a bit steep. Other than that, I was fine.
How tough is it, David, keeping up with that youngster that's your co-driver? Do you have a son that old?
I have a son that's older than him. I'm older than his father.
Is he carrying you, David?
Well, unfortunately, I hate to say this as well, but he has yet to approach my times by a couple of seconds in the race. He's coming on. He's not bad for a young lad.
Okay, here's a British driver in a European sport doing very well in an American car. Congratulations, David.
Thank you.
Chris Economaki with the very personable David Hobbs, whose car is now sitting second.
Segundo lugar, el carro de David Hobbs, ahora conducido por Darren Brassfield. Dice que se le durmió la pierna izquierda, tuvo un accidente esquiando David Hobbs hace poco, entonces se le durmió la pierna izquierda después de más o menos 1 hora de competencia. Sin embargo, el carro está haciendo una buena carrera, es un poco más rápido el Porsche, pero que de todas maneras pues están haciendo un buen papel. Nosotros vamos a dejar Miami por unos momentos, pero regresaremos después de estos mensajes. Gracias, Josie. Bueno, eso sí, por lo menos también aquí a los comentaristas monitores. Nosotros estamos en la carrera al lado de la acción en el Gran Premio de Miami. Sigue el carro insignia en este momento en la pista, y ahí está la gente desde las ventanas de los hoteles aledaños a la pista observando el desarrollo de la prueba.
Well, they're hanging out of the windows and partying hardy here in Miami today. They are on a yellow flag all the way around the course once again. The third yellow flag of the day. The problem, you saw part of it, number 9, Wayne Baker spun the Chevrolet March. That puts the pace car back out onto the track. And Sterling, as they're going by, we're looking at the fact that some of the drivers have got their door open. They're trying to create more airflow through there. The warmth is probably still built heavily inside the car.
Oh yeah, they use every opportunity like this to cool off as much as possible, but you can't cool off. All you can do is try and get a bit of air in the car by opening the door. But it's the ones at the back who have the advantage here because they can close up on the men ahead of them. It's the poor guys in the lead, you know, people like Derek and Hobbs and so on and so forth, who have the problem. All the other ones, they work like devils get past. They now come up and have another crack at them. But it amazes me how much gap there is between some of those cars. I know if I was there, I'd be much closer than some of them are.
Esto siempre es una desventaja para los carros que van punteando la competencia, porque siempre una bandera amarilla que impide que los demás carros se acerquen, pues permite que los retrasados vuelvan a alcanzar a los que van encabezando la prueba. Entonces le quita ciertamente ventaja a los líderes. Ellos van muy lento y por aquí por la meta acaba de pasar Emerson Fittipaldi como demonio para darle alcance al grupo y poderse acercar más a los líderes. Veremos el resultado de esta bandera amarilla, si aprieta un poco más las cosas y si hace más interesante la prueba, porque pues ciertamente Derek Bell, en su número 14, que va encabezando la competencia hasta el momento, va a perder ventaja y tal vez tenga alguna amenaza más próxima de lo que ha tenido en los últimos minutos en los que ha encabezado la carrera con cierta tranquilidad.
They call it a 12-turn racetrack, Sterling, but there's more turns than that, and even what they call straightaways aren't really straight.
Well, that's true. The straights here have got these kinks in them, which of course assist the driver in stopping the man behind him from passing if he can help it, but they're off. The green flag's out. And I think Derek's pulling away a little bit by the look of it from here.
Bueno, ya el carro insignia ha dejado la pista y están de nuevo corriendo. Derek Bell, ahora con pista limpia delante de él, tratará de volver a recuperar ventaja. El que se acercó y el que más provecho sacó de esta situación fue Brassfield, quien cerró mucho la desventaja que lo separaba del primer lugar. Brassfield está corriendo el carro número 29 con el que empezó David Hobbs y que en este momento marcha en segundo lugar.
We're 2 hours and 23 minutes into the 3-hour scheduled Grand Prix of Miami, and at the moment, it is the Porsche that nearly won the 24 Hours of Daytona that has it in hand. Al Holbert drove the first stint. Derek Bell has been driving the second stint, but Sterling, he spun twice in exactly the same place already.
And he got away with it, but I think those weren't ordinary times. A, there's a little loose gravel on the circuit, and I think B, on one of them, it certainly looked to me as though he was taking a slight avoiding action because another car he was passing didn't sort of get over quite as far as he perhaps had hoped it would, and he had to put it sideways a bit. But nevertheless, I think he was extremely lucky that he didn't get hit one end of the car or the other. But this sort of time now, under this yellow flag, is closing the cars up to an exciting new start. The people I feel sorry for are David Hobbs standing in the pits with his co-driver out there, a man obviously of less experience, with great talent. What's he feeling? You know, it's quite a responsibility.
Sí, David Hobbs allá en los pits debe sentir cierta desesperación porque ahora que se apretó de nuevo la carrera, él no está al volante de su auto que va en segundo lugar y con alguna oportunidad de pescar al líder, que en este momento es Derek Bell. Parece que hubo un encontronazo por ahí.
Yeah, two of the red cars had quite a big, it looked like quite a big bang. It may not have affected them much, but it was quite a big bump as they went in there, I think.
Bueno, toda la primera parte de esta competencia, Al Holbert manejó al Porsche número 14 que está en primer lugar, más o menos después de hora y media, o sea, prácticamente a la mitad de la carrera entró en su lugar Derek Bell y es el que ha llevado los destinos del carro líder. Vamos a ver la repetición en unos momentos de lo que pasó y aquí hay un accidente que sí parece bastante más serio. Y el número se distingue, parece que es el número 82.
I think that's the Andre Hurling Mazda Tiga, and that's mostly steam, ladies and gentlemen. Those of you that are worried, that doesn't look as though it's a fire, but it has definitely taken a hard hit.
Yeah, that really is like this is a bit of a mess. The driver's all right.
Parece no ser fuego, sino solo vapor. Eso que
we're yellow.
Pero evidentemente fue un golpe bastante fuerte y estamos en bandera amarilla de nuevo. Ya salió el carro insignia de la zona de pits porque creo que este impacto sí que fue bastante fuerte. Espero que el piloto esté bien, pero hasta el momento no lo hemos visto.
It's our 4th yellow flag of the race. And by that I mean a general yellow flag that encompasses the whole racetrack. We expect the pace car to be coming back out onto the circuit in just a little while. We'll try and get a report.
But Bruce, did you notice how much lead that Derek Bell had managed to get in? That for some short reason there must have been something just behind him where that happened, because he came past here with 300 yards lead, although now of course they'll close up under the yellow.
Están recogiendo partes del vehículo que quedaron en la pista. Sí se fue directo contra la barrera de cemento que protege las orillas de esta pista y que es pues punto menos que inamovible. Ahí está ya de nuevo el carro insignia. La pista completa está bajo bandera amarilla y no es para menos. Esperamos tener dentro de poco un reporte sobre ese accidente.
These concrete walls that line this racetrack are about 24 inches thick, about 8 feet long, and about 3 feet tall, weighing thousands of pounds each. And as you can see, the wall doesn't move no matter how hard you hit it.
Sí, es realmente, como les decía hace un momento, inamovible esta gruesa pared de cemento que está a las orillas de la pista. Vamos a unos mensajes mientras se despeja el accidente y regresamos en un momento al Gran Premio de Miami. Estamos en vivo en el Gran Premio de Miami 1985, aún bajo una bandera amarilla que fue provocada por el accidente que sufrió el Mazda Tiga de Gaston Andrew al estrellarse de frente contra una de las barreras de concreto. Aquí está Gaston Andrew, lo pueden ver parpadear. La pierna fracturada es el reporte inicial de su estado, ya lo llevaron al hospital. Estas escenas capturadas hace apenas unos instantes. Y pues Andrew va camino al hospital Mercy aquí en el área de Miami. Ya la ambulancia pasó por toda la recta principal para salir allá al fondo de Biscayne Boulevard y tomar rumbo al hospital. Pero se veía en más o menos buen estado, despierto, así que dentro de lo malo esa es una buena noticia.
You got a little shot right in there of Gus Andre just before they loaded him into the ambulance. He was conscious. As we pointed out once again, it's apparently a leg fracture. It didn't look like he was very comfortable there at the moment. The reason we're still under a general yellow flag is that they've still got to get the fences squared back away at that location. Sterling, separate item. You said we've got how many cars left running?
We've got 25 cars running, which is a lot. I'm very surprised. I'm more surprised than actually the damage, the way they damage these fences, because man, this concrete's heavy. He must have hit that wall very hard. I'm very surprised. Maybe that's what it was.
Y todavía 25 carros según la cuenta que acaba de hacer Sterling Moss. Y son muchos, la verdad es que no se esperaba que hubiera tantos todavía compitiendo a estas alturas. No se ha reanudado la prueba debido a los daños que sufrió la barra de concreto, la protección ahí al lado de la pista, y que está siendo reparada. En cuanto quede, y no falta mucho para eso, el carro insignia regresará a los pits y estaremos de nuevo corriendo. Queda ya poco tiempo en este Gran Premio de Miami 85, solamente unos 20 minutos restan de competencia y aparentemente el carro insignia ya los dejará correr. Allá vaya rumbo a los pits y estamos de nuevo en competencia.
Okay, the pace car is off of the racetrack. We're going green once again, and honestly, Sterling, strange story, but I swear, off of the number 14 car, the leader, there was a lot of oil smoke.
I thought there was a lot of smoke myself. I agree with you. It really did look that way. It may have been just dirt because they've been going around rather slowly, and I hope that most of these cars, I hope, remember to keep their tires warm because they do cool off. But I think they're professionals and they do know.
Sí, se vio como que salió mucho humo y ese humo podría bien estar provocado por aceite del carro de el líder, el número 14, Derek Bell, y tengo que pensar que así es porque lo están rebasando otros carros. Hobbs, el carro de Brassfield y de David Hobbs, quien lo manejó al principio, ya ha rebasado a Derek Bell y eso quiere decir que hay nuevo líder.
So we've got a new leader, Darren Brassfield, apparently snookering his way back around the hard-running Porsche, and it's now a Chevrolet March back out in front to be what? Our fifth leader, I think, of the day, and the bright red March is in front, and the number 14 Porsche is backing up in a hurry.
Sigue perdiendo vuelo el Porsche número 14 de Derek Bell, ahora ya lo rebasó también el Jaguar 04 se lleva a Hurley Haywood y eso quiere decir que no está en buenas condiciones. El Porsche número 14 ha perdido el liderato y ahora pues yo creo que David Hobbs debe estar brincando de gusto ahí en los pits porque Darren Brassfield, el jovencito, no mucha experiencia y todo lo que usted quiera, pero ya está de líder cuando solo faltan 10 vueltas.
Do you think that luck is not with them? I mean, they went 24 hours in Daytona, led 19 of them, and here they were leading this thing, and then all of a sudden, when they go onto the throttle, the horsepower didn't appear to be there.
Just amazing. I just don't know. I have no idea what it could be. Unless the engine's been heating up because it's been going quickly enough or something. I just don't know. He's still within contention. He's still close enough, providing the car hasn't lost its edge. There's no doubt that the ex-leader, that is Derek Bell with the Porsche, could still make it up in the 10 or 15 laps that remain. Whoops.
There you go.
One. He's got one of them.
Problemas con el Jaguar.
That's the Jaguar.
Se cerró el Jaguar, pero entró por fuera el auto que tenía el liderato, Derek Bell, y entonces Derek Bell en realidad dejó al Jaguar en el camino y Derek Bell siguió en la prueba. Muchos problemas aquí en el arranque, la reanudación de esta competencia.
That's probably Chip Robinson in the other Jaguar now, as he's been waiting to get his ride in it, and then ends up tangling and with a problem. Now you've got a shot of the leader. First time in the lead for this car. It started in the 8th position, and they've been working their way back up. Now they're ready. Let's take another look at what we had a chance. We're going back to the replay right now so you can see it once again. again what happened. On the left, the Porsche that used to lead, the Jaguar on the right.
Miren que ese ron se dio ahí el Jaguar de Chip Robinson y entonces apenas si lo pudo evitar. Bonita maniobra de Derek Bell para salirse de ese problema.
They touched on that, it would appear to me, now I don't know how much damage has been done to either of the cars, how bad that touch was.
All right, well, here's the leader once again, that bright red one. There's the differential. Here's second place, the Porsche that has dominated the race up until now. And we've got a brand new race with approximately, I'm going to say 13 minutes. They say less than 10 laps, so it's got to be about that. And we have got a race in Miami live once again at the 3rd annual Grand Prix.
Y ahora que pasen por aquí, pues Sterling Moss ya está listo con su cronómetro para ver si está perdiendo vuelo el número 14 de Derek Bell, que ha sufrido tantos problemas y que al reanudarse la prueba perdió en un abrir y cerrar.
There's where the racetrack's starting to break up just a little bit. You saw the car bounce real hard there.
Yeah, and when a car like this bounces like that, that is very bad indeed. But it's the same for all of them, and they've got the same sort of experience, and I'm sure that the drivers with that experience will find a way around those holes. It'll take a lap to sort it out, but they haven't got that many laps to play with. Now we're focusing on Derek Bell, but he's not in the lead at the moment. For anybody watching who's just joined us, he is actually chasing the Hobbs car, the red car. I'll put a watch on him within a small pass to see whether we think there's a chance of him catching him or not. Certainly, if it's both equal and everything was normal, one would expect that he could do it.
Yo no sé si Derek Bell tiene problemas con el carro, pero eso parece. Vamos a ver otra vez en un momento más la forma como se consiguió el rebase.
Here's a replay of the pass for the lead. There it was, the red car it looked like it out-horsepowered.
Sí, Brassfield simplemente parecía tener más poder en el momento de hacer el rebase y eso quiere decir que Derek Bell es Derek Bell.
One thing we mustn't overlook is possible that Derek had been running with one gear too few. He may have been one gear down. When he was on the run, it didn't matter, but now that the chips are down, they're really racing. He may be missing it. It looks to me as though that could be it.
4.4-second differential between first and second place right now, and it might be that another Chevrolet March is going to do well here in Miami.
4.4 segundos es la diferencia que hay entre el primero y el segundo lugar y realmente se antoja mucho. Para el rebase es una ventaja considerable que con los ojos cerrados sin siquiera querer ver lo que pasa en la pista, esperando que su sueño haga realidad y ese sueño sea el triunfo del Gran Premio de Miami 85.
Watching him once again, we focused on the second place car, who's been the strong runner all day, but the car got a little loose right there.
Oh, very loose around that corner. Whether it's the car or the corner, I don't know. He's 4 seconds behind now. I don't know if he can do it. We'll have to see on the next lap whether he's making up or losing. He's got time if he can take 1 second a lap.
La desventaja es de aproximadamente 4 segundos la que tiene Derek Bell. Aquí los pueden ver en la misma toma, los dos vieron ahí al líder, al número 29, Darren Brassfield, y detrás de él, allá viene Derek Bell. Aunque no lo parezca, solo son 4 segundos lo que nos separan. Pero qué manera de tomar el liderato de Brassfield. De veras que, sobre todo para un joven como él, pues dice David Hobbs que el papá de Brassfield es más joven que Hobbs. Entonces, la verdad que Darren Brassfield debe estar feliz.
All right, we're picking it up, that youngster Darren Brassfield that Hobo says is young enough to be somebody else's son. He's booking it. The kid is really picking it up nicely. And what you're watching right here is a factory-paid Porsche driver trying to run him down right now.
Yeah, but not just a factory-paid driver. He is about the best of this type of racing that there is. That man's won Le Mans, I don't know how many times. He's won so many races. He is probably the finest long-distance sports car racer in the world.
Ahora, claro, Derek Bell es un hombre que provoca mucho respeto, como nos hace recordar Sterling Moss, un hombre que ha ganado Le Mans, en fin, que es un especialista en carreras de larga duración, tal vez más larga duración que esta, que solamente son 3 horas, y él es especialista en 24 horas y en 12, pero pues aquí se están acercando y de nuevo se va a producir una buena batalla por el primer lugar.
Darren Brassfield picking his way through traffic with a lot of aplomb. He's got it together, it looks like, Sterling.
He really does deserve, I mean, a fantastic, he really does deserve to win. I think he's driving beautifully. I mean, for a driver who is obviously not short of experience compared with many of the others. I mean, if Hobbo was in there, David Hobbs, you'd say, well, okay, let's see it go. But now with a inexperienced, relatively inexperienced driver, it's a terrific race. these back markers, which is adding, of course, to the excitement here.
And the time is counting down. There's less than 8 minutes left in the race.
Quedan 6 vueltas nada más para terminar el Gran Premio de Miami 1985, según los reportes oficiales de la torre de control, y pues un número de vueltas francamente reducido para que este auto, el número 14, Porsche 926, le dé alcance al primer lugar. Es un Chevy Marchi que está conduciendo Darren Brassfield.
Well, young Brassfield's showing his heels to him at the moment. The differential is remaining relatively static. We'll get a clock on it this time by. Boy, if Derek Bell is driving the wheels off of it, he's got it to a 3.3-second differential, and it looks as though Bell has pulled out the stops.
I don't think he's got quite enough, depending on how much how they go, because obviously the track is loose in places, it's very slippery, but Derek was really good. Quite excited to watch that coming through here sideways.
7 décimas recuperó el Porsche número 14 sobre el líder, y vamos a ver si le quedan las vueltas suficientes para poder cazarlo. Se ve difícil, pero aquí los ve usted a los dos en la misma toma en la batalla final por el Gran Premio de Miami.
After 2 hours and 54 minutes, these are the only 2 cars on the same lap. Number 29, the red one, number 14, the blue and white one, and it's come down to a man-on-man type of a battle.
La presión es intensa en este momento para un joven relativamente sin experiencia como es Darren Brassfield. Tiene que estar sintiendo la presión. Afortunadamente para él creo que le ayuda el hecho de que ya quede muy poco tiempo en esta carrera.
Oil on the circuit, that could really look.
Hay aceite en la pista, y es que pues
Bob Aiken, the number 5 car.
But that oil flag, that's with the lines on it, that is the most dreaded flag of all on the racetrack. Thank goodness we've got the flag out.
Están avisando que hay aceite en la pista, y eso sí que es muy peligroso para los pilotos. Todos lo saben y tienen mucha precaución cuando ven la bandera amarilla con franjas negras. Quiere decir que hay aceite en la pista, y eso reduce aún más las oportunidades que tiene el Porsche de recuperar terreno.
I got the differential at 3.1 seconds. He knocked off another 2 tenths, and Bell was stuck in traffic most of that lap. Now he's got a clear shot at him, and let's see what happens.
Apretando pero duro el acelerador de Derek Bell en ese número 14.
Y there's your leaderboard for you, the top 5 as they sit. Now the leader is in traffic, and the Porsche will be closing up tight against him.
Aquí con problemas Brassfield para hacer el rebase, y ya se le pegaron. Ahora sí que será toda una batalla en un final estrujante que nos espera aquí en el Gran Premio de Miami.
This one is getting good. If you just joined us, you're here for the climax of it, as we have got approximately 5 minutes left, and that's all. The red car, number 29, is in front of it. Right behind him, the number 14, the blue and white one. And I mean right behind him.
Quedan solamente 3 vueltas y ahí están pegados. Primer lugar, el carro rojo número 29. Hay aceite en la pista, les avisan. En segundo lugar, azul y blanco, el carro número 14. Este sí que será un final de película, digno de la serie de televisión que estuvieron filmando este fin de semana.
You might have caught a glimpse of the yellow flag with the red stripes on it. That was what Sterling was alluding to earlier. An oil flag in one individual location on the track. The rest of the track's probably getting a little greasy too, but it's come down to it now. They're both on the same short chute together. That's where the start-finish line will be. That's where the checkered flag will fly in a while, but right now you got to prove together.
Y se está acercando cada vez más el Porsche, y ahora ya están peleando, pero peleando en serio. Cabeza con cabeza, y veremos un final realmente estrujante aquí en el Gran Premio de Miami. La diferencia es muy poca, y allá se tira el rebase por el lado exterior, y vamos a ver si lo logra. Tiene oportunidad porque está en la recta larga. Cuidado, por poco hay un encontronazo y tenemos nuevo líder.
Squeeze play, and Bell went by.
That was quite a maneuver, you know, I must say. They both held their a beautiful maneuver there on both their parts. They both got away with it, and no hindrance. We've got a replay coming up so we can study what they're doing exactly.
Take another look.
Look at that, absolutely neck and neck. The Budweiser car just ahead, no. He got through, that was...
They bumped.
¿Cómo aguantaron? Se necesita sangre fría. Vamos a ver si llegan a tocarse aquí en el momento que dan la curva. Sí, parece que sí. Parece que sí, pero qué sangre fría de ambos pilotos. La verdad que hay que quitarse el sombrero ante la capacidad técnica de estos hombres, y ahí siguen pegados y no se ha acabado esto. Darren Brassfield, créanme que va a pelear hasta el final, hasta el último centímetro de esta prueba.
Brassfield certainly not giving up. The big torque out of that small block Chevy V8 will get him off the corner at first.
Yeah, the turbo lag on the other one, but they're really driving this.
The differential on the short chute as they came by here was only about 2 car lengths. You got to have a quick stopwatch to find the difference there. Onto the brakes hard, through the turn 1 area. Now they'll come back out onto the long straightaway once again. This is where horsepower counts.
Aquí en las rectas largas es donde tiene ventaja el Porsche, y cuando llegan a las curvas entonces es cuando se acerca más Darren Brassfield. En su carro tiene mejor poder en la salida de las curvas, y el caballaje que es mayor en el Porsche pues es el que le da la ventaja en las rectas. De cualquier manera están muy pegados y cualquier cosa puede pasar en este cerradísimo final del tercer Gran Premio de Miami.
We're down to the last couple of laps. In fact, if there were white flags in this sport, they'd be getting the white flag, I think, this next time out. Sterling, the cars are white, the fuel load's gone away, they probably handle it over here.
Boy, they're certainly... Oh, he's just spun, but he's held it, he's still going and would appear no damage. Well, that's taken the pressure off Derek, but what a great race, what a fantastic race.
Uy, qué pena lo que le pasó a Darren Brassfield, qué momento para hacer un trompo, y eso seguramente dejará a Brassfield ya fuera de cualquier posibilidad. Demasiadas ganas le puso el novato, y en eso tal vez esté el segundo lugar en esta prueba en lugar del primero. Ahora con más tranquilidad Derek Bell ya manejando y en el comando de esta prueba.
Derek Bell bringing it through the park. Oh, he almost spun it right there too. He's getting plenty loose right now. Off of the flag stand, they're giving the move over flag to the other cars as suddenly Brassfield is caught in some traffic. Check that, not Brassfield. It is there. Bell caught in
Bell, not Holbert, yeah.
And Bell makes it through there.
Boy, there's a lot of cars left. There's still, what, 25 odd cars. That's a lot of cars on the track of this length. After 3 hours of really tough racing.
This should be the last lap, though.
Se quitó el tráfico Derek Bell y con eso se quitó también los problemas. Ahí está Derek Bell ahora acercándose al espíritu de Miami, que con todo y todo probablemente termine en tercer lugar con una vuelta de desventaja. Están ya en la última vuelta del Gran Premio de Miami 1985.
An hour and a half ago, Derek Bell got behind the wheel of the number 14 Porsche. He spun it twice out on this racetrack, but he has taken back over the lead after giving it up one time. He's on his last lap, and this looks like victory for the factory car.
Don't speak too soon, there's still some distance to go, so this race anything can happen.
Él sabe cómo le hizo Derek Bell, pero le respondió de nuevo el carro después de que parecía que empezaba a tirar aceite y que perdía vuelo, que fue cuando lo pudo alcanzar Darren Brassfield, pero finalmente se impuso la potencia, el caballaje del Porsche y la experiencia de Derek Bell, que es un hombre que se la sabe de todas, porque se acercan ya los últimos momentos del Gran Premio de Miami.
He's a quarter mile from the checkered flag. And there it is. Derek Bell wins the third Grand Prix of Miami.
La bandera cuadros para Derek Bell, es el ganador del Gran Premio de Miami 1985. Al Holbert manejó la primera mitad de la prueba, Derek Bell manejó la segunda mitad, y entre los dos se están apuntando un meritorio triunfo. Vamos a unos mensajes y regresamos a Miami en un momento.
All right, it's all over, and it's checkered flag time. Let's go down to the victory circle. Chris Economaki should have the winner.
Hey, Derek, it didn't take you long to get out of the car. What's going on in there?
It's a bit warm, Chris. I've been in there about an hour and 40 minutes. It's a long time.
Listen, that was a great drive. It was a little show business there. How'd you let the Chevy get by?
Well, the trouble with this engine, it's inclined to choke up when you run it for so long going slowly.
Yeah.
Really?
And, of course, when I went put my foot down, it wouldn't go anywhere.
You know, your countryman, David Hobbs, said that only Derek Bell could spin a car twice here and not damage it.
I did damage it at the front, but I wasn't going to stop for anybody.
Really?
Yeah.
How did you get back by him there towards the end?
Well, I gave him a bit of a show up here and worried him a bit, and which pushed him out wide. And down here, and then he knew I was right there. So as he went out wide,
you went under.
It meant I could keep inside. You all right? To keep inside him.
I see.
I get down there, I just don't bring it.
What kind of shape are you now? You look a little bit. You're soaking wet.
So would you be, Chris? We talked about fitness the other day. Do you remember?
Right. Okay, Derek Bell, a happy winner. Now, where's Al Holbert coming in here? Here are the sponsors people getting in there. Get in there, you folks. Go Lowenbrau. This is like, well, I'm just being smothered here by the crowd. Here's Al Holbert. We're trying to get it.
Talk now.
Yeah, right. He was, there's the co-driver. Hey, Al, turn around. Were you worried when the Chevy went ahead?
I wasn't worried, but I tell you, I was nervous.
Did you think it was going to get it back?
I figured if anybody could, he could.
Okay, congratulations, Al Holbert and Derek Bell, the winning team. And that's it from Chris Economaki, not necessarily our cameraman from Victory Lane.
Okay, thank you very much, Chris.
Bueno, Chris Economaki en la entrevista con Derek Bell y Al Holbert, la pareja de